Waheguru Ji Ka
Khalsa,
Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. It's Balraj Singh from the Bhujangi podcast, and I welcome to you another episode. And today I'm here with Divjot Singh.
Waheguru Ji Ka
Khalsa,
Khalsa,
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And today we'll be covering how to actually counter and embrace the effects of post-colonialism and how, as a Panth, we can move forward from that. So we're with Divjot Singh today. He's a law student studying.
Yeah, so I'm a first year law student at SOAS, University of London.
Yep.
So SOAS basically, they specialize in social sciences and political studies, and they mainly focus on decolonizing the average mindset of young people, of Britishers growing up in the UK, students growing up in the UK, and trying to decolonize education and help us understand the effects that the British or the colonizers had on ethnic minorities and ethnic communities. Us in India, so in Punjab, those in Kenya, those in Africa, massive effects that the British had, and SOAS tries their best to try and break these down and give us a more decolonized mindset and approach towards education.
Yeah.
It's a very politically active university as well, so I think it was like perfectly built for me.
Yeah.
You know how I'm always posting.
I've known Divjot Singh since my first year at high school at GNSA. We mainly met at Smug towards the end of year 7, and since then we've been in contact, saying further to each other whenever we see inside the corridors.
Yeah.
And then after high school, we've been in touch. We've come more closer, Jord Mele, programs and everything. And then I was like,
the monthly programs and stuff.
Monthly programs, and especially with the podcast, I was like, Divjot Singh so much into the history, the effects of colonization, and I was like, it's perfect to have him, especially after Just Meet Singh's episode, where we actually talk about like what the British did. And now with Divjot Singh, we're just going to discuss further into like what the effects were and how we can like overcome those things.
I just want to make a disclaimer. I'm not a Pratarak. I'm nothing like Just Meet Singh. I can't do anything to his level. However, I'm going to try my best from the Soji that Maharaj has given me, from what I can understand as youth growing up in the UK, into Gursikhi, well into the Panth, serving within the Panth, from what I've understood so far and the way that we can move forward.
Yeah, I think that's really important to understand as well, because we want this episode especially to relate to the youth as possible and inspire them, because we've had Just Meet Singh coming on, but he's like from an older generation as well. So maybe some of the Sangha that's from a younger audience, they might not relate to him as much. But I'm 17, you're 19, we're a younger age. This one will be like more catered to you. The way we speak and the topics that we discuss, like you'll find it more relatable. So first, I'll just talk about you growing up in Sikhi and how your journey was.
Upbringing into Sikhi. My mum's side of the family, so my mum's side in the Pind, my Masi, Huni, Nana, Nani, they did Sangat of Sant Baba Harnam Singh Ji, Rampur Khera Wale. So many people may have read their books, very well known Mahapurush, Vade Mahapurush, the little Bhakti. And then both my mum's brothers, my mamaji's, they both did Sangat of Sant Kartar Singh Ji Pindra Wale. So they'd go into Rampur Khera. It's quite close to our Pind in Punjab. And they do a camp in Rampur Khera every year, once a year, I think. So, but my mum and her brothers would go stay there with Sant Kartar Singh Ji Huni. And one of my mum was in the federation with Bhai Amrik Singh Ji, the Students' Federation. So in that sense, they've always had quite ingrained Sikhi in their lives. My mum's side's pretty much all Amritari. And then my dad's side of the family, my Bibi and my Baba, my Dadaji, they took Amrit from the hands of Sant Singh Ji, Rada Sahib Wale. So we've always had that sort of connection into Sikhi, and I always had that connection with Mahapurush as well. And then when my family moved to the UK, my Masi, they got into Sangat with Baba Jaswant Singh Ji. So a lot of people that know me personally would know that Seva with Clifton Road, Baba Jaswant Singh Ji. And over time, we stayed closer. Baba Jaswant Singh, the family got close with them. We used to go to the Gurdwara very, very, very often when we were young. So every Wednesday was a Sukhmani Sahib part at Clifton Road, and we'd always be there. So every Wednesday we'd be there. And when I was young, I always had the jar to do seva, and I wanted to wear barna as well. I don't know how to do it properly, so I used to be there wearing my barna with like little boxer shorts underneath, trying to do my seva and stuff. People be laughing at me. I just went ahead with it.
Yeah.
So we always had that like ingrained in us from young, like going to the Guru Ghar, doing seva.
Had that prem for the Guru, for the Sikhi,
100%.
doing seva.
But then after a while, Baba Jaswant Singh Ji, they didn't come to the UK for a very long time. And in that time, our family slowly fell out of Sikhi in a sense, where we stopped going to the Guru Ghar. We stopped going on that Wednesday, Sukhmani Sahib, and slowly fell off. And like a lot of people our age, You get to year 7, year 8, young Singhs start tying a do-rag, start all this kind of stuff, and they start falling into the like roadman lifestyle, whatever you might say. I wasn't ever a roadman at all, but we all think we're gangsters, right?
Yeah, you
At
get
some
that
point,
influence. You get that influence.
especially in high school.
Yeah.
With the music we listen to and so on.
Yeah, we'll go into that. We'll go into the effects of music later on as well.
So year 7, year 8, started falling off it heavily. And then when I was in about year 9, my sister got engaged to my jija, Divjot Singh. And he introduced me to the Galtahai Gataka Khada and the Santhya class. And I started going there. I didn't want to go at first. I started going to the Punjabi class and just learning Punjabi, doing the was it Balopdesh? Balopdesh.
Yeah.
So they go over the Ura Eda, the Maharani and so on. And I didn't want to do it at first. I hated it. I used to take gaps all the time, try to skip it, bunk it. And then slowly over time, as you're seeing all these things wearing Barne, wearing the Malle, you want to be like them. You see them, you're like, Rob Vakraya, innit? Like we got this picture of Gyani ji, Samrat ji there.
Hanji.
You look at the photo and you see like, it's that robe.
Yeah.
And you just see things in Barne.
You feel the aura around them when you're with them.
It's definitely. So when we were at Havelock Road, you're just seeing the things in Barne and the Malle, and he's like, yeah, I want to be like them. And I slowly moved out of that phase of like, that little like gangster phase. You want to be gangster. And you came into the Sikhi side of things. And a lot of people might say, yeah, you need to be, it needs to come from the inside. But I know, especially with young boys our age, the Bana has a massive impact.
It really
like,
does.
You see the Bana, and that's what invokes the Sikhi inside you or calls it out, because it brings Sikhi alive in a sense where you can see Sikhi, you can see the Khalsa. It's all for young boys. We can talk about Bhakti and we can talk about so, but it's just the thing where we're not really interested at that age.
Yeah.
The Bana
especially
is what
at a young age, like it's about like what Sangat's attracted to as well.
Yeah.
For Bhujangi especially, like see saying him Abana, 10 futi talwar, shastras in the kamar kasa, big damala. It's something that attracts them, and then once you get that attraction, all the other things fall in line with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. So my jidda, like I was saying, he taught me how to tie the malla. I started going to the Gatka Khada and so on. And that's what really brought me into it. And then 2020 came and Balraj Singh, they did the Kal Chalan Nahana, they left this world. And at that time, their nephew, Baba Anadra Singh Ji, was given the seva. And our family had known Babaji from when they were quite young, because we used to go to Punjab very often to Babaji Samagam and so on. We used to stay with them. And so when they came into seva, I naturally got the chance to start doing more seva. So since about 2020, 2021, got into seva with Mahapurush. Guru Kirpa, they've blessed me. I've been there for doing the seva about 3-4 years now. And then Maharaj Kirpa, on 9/11 in 2022, I was blessed to take Amrit. Which obviously, that's when you're fully into it, right? That's when you're now...
So when you take your first step to Sikhi and you're on that path.
You're now Guru Sahib's own. So yeah, that's my upbringing to Sikhi. Of course, like we were talking about the Mullah, right? All of us have probably gone through it. We'll go over this more later on, about the importance of the Mullah and how the British sort of took that away from us.
Yeah.
But all of us, when we're getting to Sikhi, our parents probably saw us saying, "Oh, the Mullah sajaunda, hun pag nahi banda, siddhi pag nahi banda."
Yeah.
Or
Pag soni lagdi hai.
Yeah, kurta paya, aur bana ki paya, chola ki paya, right? And holy, this kind of stuff. When they see you're actually going on the right path and not just doing it for the shank of it, or for the looks of it, but you're actually trying to get more into Sikhi and Gurbani.
Yeah, and especially like the authentic way as well. Like we're gonna discuss how like the Siddhi Pag, which I mean we call it Teddy Pag for. There's an actual reason behind Gadik and their Teddy Pag. There's a reason behind it, and especially with that, I think it's very important. Like we start following these authentic values as well. Like we see other cultures. They've started to realize like what the British have done. They're like,
and they're unapologetic about it.
Yeah, they're like, hang on a second. This is what they've done. This is how we were. We should embrace that. And I think for Sikhi, that's what we've kind of lacked on right now. But now, like we've had our parents coming in from India. We've built up these structures and everything. Yeah. Now it's the time for the youth that we have. This is our chance where we can bring up these establishments and actually. Let's benefit from the things.
But at the same time, it's very important. So I might be talking about our parents, how they don't understand us with the Damala and so on. But it's very, very important for us to remember that our parents, our grandparents came here, laid that foundation stone for us. Yeah. They came here, grinded, worked hard, You know, they worked in factories, they worked manual labor,
And they built everything from the bottom.
They
Zero
built-
up.
they
They had
built-
nothing when they came.
They built these gurukars for us. Like Singh Sabha is the largest Sikh establishment outside of India. They built that from scratch. They came here, worked hard, and put that work in. Now we've got these institutions and these establishments in place that we can use. It's fine. They might not understand the Maryada. They might not understand Bana, but they've given us this opportunity to now study.
It's a huge platform that we
Yeah.
have where we can make these changes if we don't agree with things or if there's things that we're missing
Yeah.
out with Maryada, with the way that they involve themselves. But that's where the youth comes in because they see everything from a different perspective to the Babbe that are already in
Yeah.
the Godara.
But with
the committee
Nimrata,
members.
though.
Exactly.
Yeah, with
the
Nimrata,
respect is really important.
Understanding and respecting the work that they've done, and then pushing that forward, using it using the original ways of the culture, we can push their work forward.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think just going off of that is like the main issues that Sikhs nowadays face
Yeah.
with like either students or just Sikhi in general with youth. Like we know music's a big thing, TikTok,
Yeah.
social media. That's a big topic to discuss.
Yeah, so I think the main issues that we as Sikh youth face is that we aren't taught or we aren't living a version of Sikhi that is really Sikhi. So for example, we'll go to the Gurukar on Sundays, prashad shak lene a, langar shak lene a, golak che 20 pence pale. You put £1, 20p into the golak, kar aa jandi hai.
Sit down for a bit, have some lunch,
Yeah,
and call it
yeah.
a day.
We aren't really taught anything. We aren't taught Gurbani. We aren't. Our language, growing up in this country, our main language is English, right? Ma bhasha ta, ma boli ta Punjabi hai, 100%, right? But we need to be taught things, and we need to be able to understand things of the language that we are comfortable with.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for a lot of the generation just about, so we're talking about just meeting, when he was younger, he wouldn't have there wouldn't have been a lot of resources available in English for him.
Yeah, but he was lucky that you were able to go to
Go
Dal.
to Dal and so on.
That was
right?
that's like a different what do you call it? A different situation for him.
Yeah,
But
because he was always
yeah.
very into the panth, right?
Yeah.
But for the majority of the people that are around 30, 40, that grew up here, they wouldn't have had those resources. And that's where we can see that gap.
Yeah.
Where the younger generation are much more into Dreda Sikhi and like true Sikhi, whereas they are slightly in this whitewashed, colonized version of Sikhi, this weird Christianized version of Sikhi.
Even with like going to the Gurdwara on Sunday, that's like Sunday service for
yeah,
Christians.
it's like a Sunday Christian service,
Yeah,
right?
it's the same thing where Sunday you get up, you get ready, go to the Gurdwara, and then you carry on.
get
with
the little
week.
bit of wine, the bread, and that's what
Yeah.
prashad's like now for them. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
It's very
It's
weird.
like that one day, like you do everything you do in the week, party, sharty, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Then on Sunday, you just pop into the Gurdwara,
Yeah,
just call it a day.
pop in quick time, leave.
Yeah.
Whereas that's against true Sikhi.
Hanji.
Maharaj da hukam hai nit darshan karne. Nit meaning daily. So to do, of course, it's very hard for us to live by this, right? Myself included, especially. It's very hard for us to go to the Gurukar every day. But that is Maharaj's hukam. Now we've got this, we've now been torn away from our Guru where every single day, Gur Sikhs would, they kare snan simar par apna, hai na? They wake up every morning, they do isnan, and then they go to see Guru Sahib Ji, they do Guru Sahib Ji darshan every single day. This colonized version of Sikhi, this weird Christianized version of Sikhi, where people are only going to the Gurukar on Sundays, it's a direct example of the effects that they've had on us, where they've taken us away from Gurbani, they've taken us away from Guru's Updesh, and given us this other funny way of going about things.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the root of this issue is, where we're not going by Gurbani, we're not going by Guru Sahib Sikhya, Gur Tehas, and we're going by what we think Sikhi is.
It's where the manmat comes in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But yeah, just going off from that is like, even with like the youth, I think social media has played a big influence in it. And I think what I like to say is that as we talked about like the watered down version of Sikhi,
Yeah.
what I've seen in like recent years, like me growing up as well, we've changed Sikhi into relating it too much with like Punjabi history
Yeah.
and Punjabiyat.
Yeah.
Even though they're two very different things. Like, of course, Sikhi originated, it comes from Punjab, but having Punjabi history and the Sikh Ityas, they're two very different things.
Yeah.
And what we've done is, like, especially in the West, we've joined them both together. Like, even with basic Sikhi,
Yeah.
basic Punjabi traditions, like Rakhdi Banni, that's a big thing.
Mm.
Looking from Sikhi perspective,
Well,
you don't do Rakhdi.
Yeah, that's Hindu
But-
mat anyway.
Yeah. But just things like that, and like partying, Bhangra. Bhangra is a big thing. Bhangra is like a Punjabi
Now,
thing.
for example, my mom, bless her, I love her, right? But even she, when I say to her, look, family parties and so on, yeah, hunta renda, innit?
Yeah.
But when I say to her, it's actually against Gurbani. Yeah, this stuff isn't right according to Gurbani. And they say how? And you give them a simple pankti, nachiye tappe bhagat na hoye. Ye nach ke tap ke tusi bhagat nahi ban sakde. You can't be a devotee, you can't be a bhagat of Vaheguru if you're dancing around.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that in
And
Gurbani.
I think a lot against the argument, people will be like, but it's our culture.
Yeah.
What we need to realize is that's Punjabi culture, that's not Gursikhi culture.
Yeah.
They're two very different things.
Yeah, the Punjabi that we should be proud of, right? The surnames that we have, Tilno, yeah, my surname, they're 12. There's so many Shaheed Singhs that have had these same surnames as us. Now, should we be proud of our heritage in the sense that we've had, from our own lineage, we've had so many Shaheeds in there? Or should we be proud of, oh, yeah, Bhangra Paunde, yeah, fine, yeah, Jire Bhangra Paunde,
Do your thing.
Khol ke karo, hai na?
Yeah.
Like, karo apna, hai na? You can do whatever you want, and no one's really stopping you. No judgment either, innit? People are into what they're into. People have their own hobbies. However, we need to make sure we're going on the Gursikhi line of things, and going back to Gurbani and seeing what Gurbani is saying about this. The whole of Sikhi falls back on Gurbani. That's what we're going to try to base this whole podcast on.
Yeah.
Where all of the beliefs that we have and all of the ways that we go about Sikhi and go about our lives according to Sikhi should be based upon Gurbani and Gur Itihas. And those are the only two ways that we can really reprogram ourselves.
100%.
And reprogram the Sikh mindset. And these are the problems that we're going through. It's because Sikhi says this, Sikhi says that. Where does Sikhi say it? We need to go by Gurbani and go by Gur Itihas. And that's the way we solve these issues that we have.
Yeah, especially like going back to like using Gurbani like for Maryada that's like been long forgotten or not practiced as much. Like we've seen the Dala, like the Maryada that we have, do Arta, we do the other things as well. But then because of like the colonization of Sikhi, we've been washed away from these traditions, and then those questions automatically arise like, but then what we need to realize is that when you've been given that information, that proof of it, you need to also have that understanding that you have to admit it as well. Like
you have to have that humility.
Yeah, sometimes what I've seen with Sangat is you give them the Gurbani, you give them the Pankti, you give them the Salok, but then they'll take the art completely different. They'll change the complete different meaning. And even if it's a direct meaning, they'll be like, oh, but that's used to say this in a different way.
See, but that's the thing though. We can't guilt people into Sikhi. Yeah. And we're going to have to keep on trying. There's some people that are, there's some people that are, they have a lot of ego, they're very arrogant, myself included. And they're not going to listen to what you're telling them, right? Because it's just going to hurt them, they're not going to be able to understand it. But Maharaj always tells us, Jin prem ki utan hi prapayo. Every Amritari reads this every morning. It's very important to make sure that we keep on treating people with prem and keep on giving them that loving guidance, even if they're not understanding. That's something we need to remember. And I feel like this is another thing that where we go to the Gurukar on Sundays, we do all this stuff, and we're never really taught anything. And then when we grow up, people are guilt tripped, and they're made to feel guilty because they don't know Punjabi, they can't read Gurumukhi, they can't read Gurbani, and then they're made to feel guilty. Like people that are into Sikhi would, a lot of Amritaris, from what I've seen, become very judgmental in that sense, and they look at someone that can't read Gurbani, that can't read Punjabi, and say, oh, tu par nahi sakta, and they take the mick out of them. And that's where we're going wrong. We need to bring people with pyar. The whole story of Sajjan Thag, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. This guy's a murderer. He used to chuck people in the well. Maharaj still brought him in with pyar. He heard the Gurbani and he came in. Slowly over time, Gurbani is so powerful, it will break down this ego. But we need to, the pyar is the most important part. With pyar, obviously when people are, je koi chad ke aauga ta, then the guitar's right there. But when it's sangat and when it's people that are trying to learn, but they're just not able to grasp it, because Sikhi has been so heavily watered down. When you tell them the original version of Sikhi, they're not going to understand it. They're not going to be able to grasp this information.
It just goes over their head. It's way confusing. Like what?
Yeah, it's going to take time. Like everyone's probably seen that video of like the Instagram video. You got a dirty glass and there's like loads of like mud around the glass.
Yeah.
And then you put it under a tap, and the water keeps flowing in, and slowly all that mud comes out, and it's pure water in there. That's what Gurbani's like. And all this mel that's been put in us through colonialism, through Indian state propaganda and so on, through our own misinterpretations. When we keep on giving this pyar and spreading gurbani around, parcha shabad ka, hai na? We always say, puja gal ki parcha shabad ka didar khalse da, hai na? We introduce people to the shabad, and slowly over time that male is going to come out. And if we do it with pyar, it will have a big effect.
Yeah, I think that's really important as well. Like I've seen on social media as well, especially. I'll keep relating this to social media because I think that's how the youth will relate the most. Like sometimes I see like videos of like more people that are going onto their journey. Like they'll do like part on camera. They'll make mistakes, but people take the mick out of them as well. But the thing is, all right, they might be doing it wrong, but that's where we come in. At least they're trying, and what we need to do is motivate them. Okay, it's really good, but you're making these mistakes.
Yeah.
Work on this is how you fix
it.
This is how you do it. Yeah. If we're struggling, reach out to me. I can help you.
Man Singh Nihang from Sikh History podcast, he said something amazing. He did the Kesambal seminar recently at the Clifton Road right? Yeah. And something amazing he always says, and it's each one teach one. You learn something, you teach someone else. Yeah. If you learn one thing about Gurbani, you learn an art of Gurbani, or you know Santhya, you've done Santhya, right? You then go and spread that with other people. You don't put them down. You help them and you teach them. For example, someone's getting a Vishram wrong in a Pankti, yeah? You tell them where the Vishram is. You say, oi, ki karta tu?
No, look at this guy. Look how he's reading it. You don't reshare
why are you reading it wrong?
You reach out to them or you comment to them, like, speak to them, be like, oh, you did this wrong, but let me show you how to actually do
That's
it.
That's a Punjabi thing. Oi, ki kari jana tu? Yeah, it's not a Sikhi thing.
Sikhi
is galt karta hai tu, vire mere naal aaja, I'll show you. That's the Sikhi way to go about things. And that's where the judgmentalism and it's all like mushed up together and it causes big issues.
I'll relate this in another way as well. It's like when you go to the gym, you're new to it, you don't have to do the exercise, you pick up a dumbbell or you like lift it up wrong and like you have another person next to you doing his sets and you're like, look at this guy, look how he's doing it.
Yeah.
And then if he comes over and helps you, be like, no, this is how you do it.
Press the bars all the way up there.
Yeah. And then if he comes over and he shows it to you, you'll be like, okay, now I know how to do it right, do it even more. That itself promotes it again. Yeah, but I think that's something that we need to really focus on is like actually bring everyone together and not shunning them out because they're not doing something right.
Or if they've got a slightly different maryada. Yeah. It's one person Nihang Singh, one person Taksal, one person the AKJ. Ek pita, ek uske hum barak. We're all the sons and daughters of Sahib Sri Guru Gobind Singh.
Yeah, and we're all from the Garden of Guru Nanak Dev Ji.
Mata Sahib Dev Ji, na?
Yeah.
We all belong to the same parents. So even if we're going about things slightly differently, or we don't even know, khaje bhi pyar na karo, hai na?
And I think that's really important for the Bhujangis as well. Like I think
our age especially.
Like, I've seen this a lot on social media. It's so good like being with different Sangam Pardars, no problem. You're Nihang Singh, you're Ndal, you're Taksal, you're AKJ, it doesn't matter. But don't bring your beliefs and just start looking down at others, being like, I'm Nihang Singh, or look, this is what Taksal does, or Bodadal all the way. Or same with Taksal, be like, Nihang Singh didn't do much in 84. Things like that, or AKJ. These things happen, and I think it's very important.
Everyone's had their own day into the pant.
Yeah, everyone's had their very own importance in the pant. And I think that's what we need to recognize and not just big yourself up. And because that's where ego comes in. Yeah. That's where Hankar comes in, being like, this is what we did, and we're above everyone else.
You saw it at the program we had recently at Clifton Road.
Yeah.
When the big hall was reopened.
Yeah.
Every single Samparda, it's for the first time I've seen it in a very, very long time. Every single Samparda in the Pant. Tarna Dal, with Mahant Lotan Singh ji. Udasi Samparda. Dandami Taksal. Yeah, you had, there was a Nirmala Singh there as well, Arjun Singh from Slough.
Yeah.
Every single Samparda you can think of. Rada Sahib was there. Nanak Sir was there. They're all there under the Nishan Sahib Sahib Guru Gobind Singh ji Maharaj. All together having the darshan of Guru Granth Sahib ji Maharaj. That is the way the Panth should be. Now, we as Bhujangis, we as the youngers of this Panth, growing up and we're going to be the future of this Panth, we need to get rid of these illusions from between each other.
Yeah, 100%.
These divisions that we have, because if we can't do it, it's going to carry on for ages. And Kaljog's going to keep getting worse. So everyone listening to this podcast, all of us here together, we might have disagreements, right? I'm personally vegetarian. A lot of Nihang Singhs would be eating chatka and so on.
We have this vichar all the time.
We might not agree with each other, but is that going to break the fact that we all belong to the same father? No. right? Doesn't mean we need to stop speaking to each other, stop doing each other's sangat. We need to be careful about these things, especially as the youngers in this community, like in the panth. We need to make sure we break down these like boundaries that we're setting in between each other, and remember that we're all one panth, and we've just got different ways of going about things.
Yeah, I think even like Gandhi Sheikh Singh ji, they've said this multiple times.
Yeah.
Like we're all flowers of the same garden.
Guru Nanak Dev
Yeah.
Bagiche de Full.
Yeah, and then like some of us may have thorns on us, like roses.
Yeah.
Some might be
Man
just
60.
yeah. Some might be different, but we're all a part of that same garden, and we're all
Yeah.
part of that same family, and we just have to come with peace with it. Like we saw, like we said at Clifton Road, like I was there as well.
Yeah.
It was so beautiful to see that, and I think is like with the Bhujangis online, they can get hyped up,
Yeah.
and I think that's what happens. Like with each Samprada, they all get hyped up with themselves, but I think
too many keyboard warriors.
too many keyboard warriors,
Yeah.
and I think what you need to do is you have to just understand it from the base level, being like,
Yeah.
Sikhi's not like that at all. We're an open garden. Everyone's got their differences, and
Yeah.
everyone does their own thing.
I feel
we
like
don't hate
over
each
here
other.
it's worse as well though.
Yeah,
So when you go to India, when you go to Punjab and you see all those things in Punjab, they don't really hate each other like that. Yeah, they don't. There might be divisions in between people, but they don't openly, outright go against each other
Yeah.
in terms of samprada and stuff. Over here, we do it way too much, and I think it's more because of social media. It's Over there, the Singhs. So for example, the Singhs in Dal,
yeah.
they ain't got no problem with Taksal.
And they go
Yeah.
to Nirmali as well.
Yeah,
Nirmali come to them.
the same thing Taksal, they ain't got no problems with the Nihang Singhs. But over here, for some reason, we keep on making these divisions and arguing between each
Especially with Taksal, I like to say, with Taksal and Nahang Singhs, some people like, or Sanjanel Singh had disagreements with Baba Santa Singh ji.
other. Yeah.
They literally told Taksal Singhs, if you want to get Sante of Dasam Grant,
Yeah.
go to Nahang Singhs, go to Dalpant, go to Baba Santa Singh
And
ji.
even if there are disagreements in between them, we're very small compared to what they were. Yeah, Sanjanal Singh, they were the Mukhi or Taksal. Yeah, they're on the 14th seat of Baba Deep Singh ji. Yeah, Baba Santa Singh ji, Pant Padshah ji, they're on the Gaddi of Baba Binod Singh ji. Yeah, they're the Shromani Pant Akali Buddha. Even if we have our own opinions about these people, who are we to go and openly talk wrong about them or talk bad about them, no matter what side we're on?
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
Over there, over there. Yeah, we might personally disagree with them. Doesn't mean we need to go out slandering them or speaking bad about them.
Especially if none of us have been to Dal or been
Yeah,
once or
exactly.
twice, haven't been to Taksal.
Yeah.
You can't relate to them. You can't talk about them.
100%. It's sometimes you're talking on Sanji's name bad about Baba Santa Singh or bad about Buddha Dal, or you haven't even stayed in Dal, then you're talking bad about Sanjay Singh.
Yeah, and even talking about Baba Santa Singh ji, a lot like I've seen comments like when I posted the podcast setup, they saw the picture of Baba Santa Singh ji and they're like, Gaddar. It hurts when you hear that.
And then you got videos of Samrat ji when they're
Yeah.
at Hemkund Sahib talking about the Bachans of Sanjay Singh.
When they talk about Bachchan Janel Singh ji, and
Yeah.
Janel Singh ji was like
talking about Dasam Granth.
talking about Dasam Granth, they were like,
Yeah.
only those who can hear the clashes of swords, the Jakare in
Yeah.
Dasam Granth, only them can understand it.
Yeah.
Those that can't, they were just doing India of it.
Yeah.
And Sanjanel Singh ji said that.
Yeah, so it's just those. It's really pointless. It's so pointless, and it's pure Kaljug. It's Kaljug trying to break us down and break us away from each other, and it's directly against Gurbani, right? Maharaj says, "Ek pita, ek uske hum barak, tu mera gurhai." Yeah, we all belong to that same father. Yeah, we're the children of that same father. Anything that's going against Gurbani, that's Kaljug trying to break us down.
Yeah.
So if they're breaking us up as brothers, if us as brothers are being broken up just because our slightly different ways of going about things, we can see clearly that's Kaljug in effect, and we need to step away from that.
Yeah, especially like I'd like to say like all these things are happening because of propaganda that's been made against us.
That's also
Coming
the thing as well,
since the British, like they've
Yeah.
had their own propaganda, and then we've had like with the SGPC in the 80s, they had their propaganda against
Yeah,
Nahang
yeah.
Singhs. We've seen that happen, but back then you didn't have social media, didn't have these resources, or if there were, they were all in the hands of the people that were actually pushing out this propaganda. So everyone else would be blinded by everything else, and what they were seeing was what they were portraying, and that's what
Yeah.
happened.
I think that leads on really well to the next part as well, in terms of all the misconceptions that we have in the UK, like about Sikhi in general, like our beliefs and so on. It's this propaganda, the British propaganda and so on, and Indian media, the
Yeah.
Indian state, and just in general the misconceptions that are so widely spread now amongst the Panth. can go through a few of these misconceptions now. I think the first and the most main, the biggest misconception that we have as a Panth in general is the status of Guru Sahib and the status of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Now, the majority of Sikhs that you speak to, so for example, Sikhs that go to university, they're in working spaces, professional environments. When people ask them what is Guru Sahib, their most often answer, what do you think it is?
They're God.
That's what we say it is. That's
Yeah.
what we say Guru Sahib Ji is.
For them, it's like they were a teacher.
A prophet, a teacher.
For Western terms, like if they speak to
Yeah,
a Guru, they'll be like,
Guru Sahib is a
prophet.
teacher. But it's not just when we're talking to Gori or talking to Westerners or talking to white people. It's genuinely a belief of so many people. They believe that Guru Sahib is just a teacher, Guru Sahib is just a prophet. Now, if we're calling ourselves Sikh, right, if we go by the Akal Takht Maryada, right, just a basic level that everyone's going to follow. The Akal Takht Maryada states that if you are a Sikh, you believe in all 10 Gurus as your Guru and Guru Granth Sahib Ji as the last Guru, right? Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, that's expressed to us through Gurbani, right? Guru Sahib Ji expressed to us through Gurbani. Gurbani is saying that Guru Sahib is God, right? So if we are Sikh and we're saying we believe in Guru Sahib Ji, we need to go by what Gurbani is saying, right? Guru Sahib is not just a teacher according to Gurbani. Guru Sahib is not just a prophet. Guru Sahib is Vaheguru themselves, right? It's a massive misconception that Guru Sahib is just a prophet or a teacher. Maharaj is saying us in Gurbani, they're saying Gur Parameswar Ek Ko Jaan. The Guru and Parameswar. What does Parameswar mean? Param Ishwar. Yeah, the greatest Shiva of all Shivas. The destroyer of all destroyers. So that is Vaheguru, right? Gur Parameswar Ek Ko Jaan. Recognize both as one. They are both one. Guru Sahib and God are one. We're going around calling Guru Sahib a teacher.
I think that's where like other people from other faiths question it as well. They're like,
yeah, and we get stuck there.
You got teachers, but we have one prophet.
Yeah, so Muslims will come at a lot of Sikhs trying to convert them, and they say, but see, we won't even know what our argument is.
Because when you explain things like that, you're obviously giving them a platform because they don't know themselves. They're just asking you, but then they'll ask you questions where off your information that you've already told them, which is incorrect, which will confuse you even more. And I think that's what relates to. Yeah,
so if you're telling them Guru Sahib is a teacher, Guru Sahib is a prophet, and then Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is telling us something different, how are you ever expecting to win that argument?
Yeah.
Not that we're gonna go out and try destroy people's faith and win arguments. No, but if someone presents something to you, you should know Gurbani. You should know what Guru Sahib Ji's Updesh is. Yeah, give another shabad now. Maharaj says Gur Parameswar ek hai, sacha saha jagad vanjara. Yeah, Gur Parameswar ek hai. Now, this isn't saying ek ko jaan. This isn't saying recognize them as one. They're saying ek hai. They are one. Right? There is no difference in between them. So in that sense, it's a massive misconception. And I think that, when we did that poll on Instagram the other day, and we had everyone responding to us and giving us their ideas about what they think these misconceptions are and how the British have affected us with colonization and so on. And especially the way that Western ideas and liberalism and all this kind of stuff has affected Sikhi. One of the answers I got from one of my friends from high school was that the whole issue of Anand Garages, the Sikh wedding ceremony, and seeing all the disrespect that happens very often in Anand Garages, and people turning it into a fashion show for aesthetics and so on. Yeah. The reason why all of this disrespect happens in Sikh weddings, to Guru Sahib Ji, this beadbi if you want to call it, or the lack of respect in Anand Garages, it's because we don't understand who Guru Sahib truly is. We're taught that Guru Sahib is a teacher. We're told by our parents, we're told by our elders or teachers or whatever that Guru Sahib is a teacher. But Gurbani says something very different. Now, when we were going to the Gurudwara on Sundays, if we were taught, this is what Gurbani says, this is who Guru Granth Sahib Ji is. Guru Granth Sahib Ji is Vaheguru themselves. Yeah, Vaho Vaho Bani Nirankar hai. Bani Nirankar Ekoya. Yeah, Vaheguru and Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, they are one being, right? If we were taught this, we'd have a very different outlook on things. We wouldn't be going to Gurdwara, you see it very often in Canada. We wouldn't be going to Gurdwara in the morning for an Anand Karaj with a party bus loaded with alcohol and daru. Yeah, Jamesons and the whole lot, all the Punjabis drinking Jamesons all the time.
Yeah.
that wouldn't be happening going towards a Guru Kar if we knew who Guru Granth Sahib Ji is. If we were being taught this is what Guru Granth Sahib Ji says and this is why. And telling them Guru Ittihas, telling them examples of Gurbani, teaching them what a Hukamnama Sahib is. Yeah, people say that a Hukamnama is just a random reading. Hukamnamas are not random at all. Right? And I can give you a personal example. I won't say any names, but there was recently someone we know very close within Sangat and going through a very difficult time with diseases and so on. And he was at a very, very difficult stage. At the point where the doctors were saying, like, it's going to be impossible for him to make it out of this. And he's, what's it called? He's at a very dire stage, right? And Mahapurush did an ardas for him. And Guru Sahib Ji's answer was, in the Hukamnama, when they did this ardas in the Sangat, right? Guru Sahib Ji's answer was that I've destroyed Jamka Panth Mitaya. That was Guru Sahib Ji's answer in the Hukamnama. That I've destroyed the path of the messengers of death. Those Jamdoot that had come in to collect him when he was dying in that moment, he was about to die and he couldn't get through his surgery, they were there ready to collect him, right? And that Singh's wife, she called us after. During the Hukamnama, they got a call from the doctor. She was watching it on live. They got a call from the doctors saying that he survived the surgery. And we found it instantly. That's Guru Sahib Ji working sakshat, right there in front of you. Guru Granth Sahib Ji is not just a book. They're not just a scripture. They are Akal Purkh Waheguru Ji there in front of you. Right? And if we're not able to give these examples and we're not able to tell people what Guru Granth Sahib Ji is, tell them truly what a Hukamnama is that a random reading? No, it's not. Maharaj literally gave a direct answer. I've destroyed this path of the Jamdoot. That's a direct answer right there and then.
And I think that's a very big thing to understand as well. Is like I've seen like after like we do a Hukamnama always in it.
Yeah.
All the time. And the thing with Sangat is they don't pay attention when it's Hukamnama. I see this in Gurdwara all the time. Scrolling on the phone, TikTok, or just talking to talking to other people is a big thing.
Yeah.
Hukamnama is literally the Guru's Hukam. They're giving you an updesh at that time. That's literally
all the blessings, Mahapurush tell us very often, all the blessings that you get from the entire Diwan that you've just done, Maharaj gives you that in the Hukamnama Sahib. When you take that Hukamnama Sahib upon yourself and you go by the updesh of that Hukamnama Sahib, that's where Maharaj's blessings are being bestowed. You know, a lot of people back in the day, the Sids and so on, they spend a lot of time doing bhakti and they'd wait for an avaj, right? From their words, they'd wait for an avaj, and an avaj is a sound, and they wait from this sound from Vaheguru that I finally heard your bhakti. I've heard all this meditation you've been doing. I've heard you calling out to me. Now I'm letting you know that I'm here with you. We get that avaj every single time after the Diwan. Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj gives us a Hukamnama. Vaheguru Ji gives us a Hukam in that time. And this is something for us all to remember, that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is Vaheguru Ji. And if we teach this, and we make it clear, and we teach people the importance of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the importance of Gurbani, how the scientific miracles in Gurbani, this disrespect wouldn't be happening. People going in front of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, wearing silly clothing during weddings and so on. We don't need to judge them. We need to teach them. We need to show them this is what Gurbani is. This is who Guru Granth Sahib Ji is. This is who Guru Sahib Ji is. Khud Khuda. They are Vahegurus themselves. And we explain this to them through Gurbani with pyar. They're not going to carry on these disrespects. And if they do, fair.
And I think another thing that I would say was like dressing in front of the Guru.
Yeah.
We see this a lot is like we've casualized going to the Gurdwara.
100%.
Like we've had these vichars personally as well.
Yeah.
We were talking about, we say Guru Maharaj is Rajan ke Raja, kings of all kings, and we're going to them in a tracksuit, shorts, tank top. We should be going in them, like, if not Bana, at least pull up in a suit.
Yeah.
Present yourself in the best way. Like, if you forget a king, if you're going to see your boss or you're going to a business interview or whatever, you're meeting someone big, like, bro, have it like an artist, for example. You're meeting someone big that you idolize. You're going to want to dress up as best as you can.
Dressed amazing. If you're going to get like an MBE or something when you're going to meet King Charles or whatever.
Exactly.
You're going to be dressed in a full 3-piece suit, right? And it's something, you've probably seen it with the Singhs at Clifton Road with Babaji, Anadara Singh Ji. All the Sevadars, either 3-piece suits, fully suited out, or they're in Barney. Right? Because we're Sevadars of the Guru. We're representing the Guru. Now, obviously, myself and Balraj included, we like to dress up in the whole like street style and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
we're not
Baggy
saying that we
jeans and
always
stuff. We're not
bana.
saying that we're perfect, right? We're not perfect at all. But this is the way that we need to improve ourselves. This is the way that we need to move forward. We need to understand who Guru Sahib Ji truly is, right?
Because that's like a big thing when you think that you can wear casual clothes when you're meeting kings of all kings, Raj and Ke Raja.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. When you feel the importance with them, like I go to school, I go to Gurdwara sometimes before school, and I'm not always wearing bana to school. I wear it sometimes. Normally, I'm baggy jeans, wear a streetwear thing. But whenever I can, I always try and go in bana whenever possible. And I think that's what Sangha needs to do. Whenever possible, whenever you're going to the Gurdwara, try and dress up to your best ability of looking smart, looking the best for your Guru.
Not that you're trying to show others, but it's because you're trying to show Guru Sahib Ji that you're putting an effort for them.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, this isn't the most important thing. The most important is your seva, your simran, right? Your bhakti. That is the mode, right? That is the first maryada that we're given in Sikhi. But just in that sense where, as Singhs, we're representative of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. We are representatives of the Khalsa, right? So we need to represent ourselves in a way where we're showing people what the Khalsa is. We're professional. Yeah, either we're in Bana or we're dressed very smartly. We're dressed properly. And we all, myself included very much so, we all need to start following these things where we're representing the Khalsa as it needs to be, right? We're not going to look shabby and we're not going to look silly. We're going to represent the Khalsa as the Khalsa is, which is Raja and Ke Raja. Where Khalsa ho, where Khud Khuda. Khud Khuda would they be rolling around in tracksuits? No, right? Bana
and there's Bana, there's Neela Bana that we're wearing. The importance of it.
Yeah.
Baba Fateh Singh Ji came to Guru Maharaj after Guru Maharaj asked them, show me the roop of a Akal Purkh.
Yeah.
And they came out with this Neela Bana, this Dastar, Damale Chakkar, Shastar, Kamar Kasse.
Yeah.
We got Qatar here on display, Shastar, Kamar Kasa Shastars.
Yeah.
This is the importance of it. And we need to embrace this to the maximum.
Yeah. And then, so that's one thing, right? The misconception in regards to Guru Sahib Ji, about Guru Sahib Ji just being a prophet or a teacher. Another misconception that's very, very common is that one of the main misconceptions that we see is regarding to case.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people would say that what's it called? A lot of people say that case has started with Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and that Guru Gobind Singh Ji has made this new maryada and this new way of life, right? If we go to Gurbani, there's so many mentions of case inside Gurbani from Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So not in Das from Guru Granth Sahib, not from Guru Gobind Singh Ji's time. I can give you multiple examples from Guru Arjan Dev Ji, right? When Guru Arjan Dev Ji is talking about case, right? And they're talking about the form of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, the way that Vaheguru Ji looks, right? The form that they take upon when they give us darshan. And Maharaj says, Nirhari Kesav Nirvara. That the Nirhari, the Vaheguru that's beyond worldly restrictions, that doesn't need to eat food. So that Vaheguru that's beyond worldly restrictions, Kesav, has case, has beautiful, lustrous case, long case, right? Nirvara, that he is beyond hate, beyond ver, right? Where else do we have Nirvar? Mool Mantar, yeah? Nirpao, Nirvar. So we know we're talking about Vaheguru Ji here, right? Maharaj saying Nirhari case of Nirvara. That this is the form of Vaheguru. They have long case. They have long, lustrous case. And then, in terms of Gursikhs, that's Vaheguru Ji, right? In terms of Gursikhs, yeah, Maharaj says Kesa ka kar chavr talava charan tur mukhlai. That I'm fanning Guru Sahib Ji, I'm fanning the sons with my long case, right? I'm using my case to do this. So these are the examples of case from Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, yeah, from Pai Gurdas Ji, from Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, right? So this misconception that case has come from Guru Gobind Singh Ji and people saying, oh, main Guru Nanak Dev Ji da Sikh, Guru Gobind Singh da Sikh nahi, right? We hear that very often in the...
Or like, sari ki case chani hundi.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
And we hear that very often in the UK, right? Or in the Western world, where people say, oh, yeah, case na rakhne di ki lod.
It's not the most important thing.
Pehle Guru Sahib ne kera kaya si. Yeah, they didn't keep their case, so why should we, right? If we look at every single dharm, right? Every dharm across the world, let's say you take Moses, you take Jesus, yeah. Muhammad obviously he shaved his much, but Maharaj goes into Muhammad anyway in Bachitra Natak. The Devi Devte, Shivji, Brahma, Vishnu, Sare ke Satari. Everyone had case, right? Moses would have kept case. He would have worn a long robe, yeah, and he would have tied a turban most likely. He's from the Middle East.
Yeah.
Jesus, most depictions we see of Jesus wearing a long robe, long case, right? Case has always been a maryada of Vaheguru's Pyare, right? Because this is the way that Guru Sahib Ji is given our roop. This is the way they're given us our body. So we're not going to say no to the way that Guru Sahib Ji or Vaheguru Ji has given us this reed, given us this body. We embrace it. Every single tradition across the world, starting from their mud, from their origin, they all had case. And even if we take that for example, why do we need to wear a pag? Why do we need to wear a damalla? Guru Sahib Ji goes over that in Gurbani as well. Main gormel uch damalla da. When I go to see Guru Sahib Ji, I'm wearing a ucha damalla. I'm wearing a tall damalla. All these examples are there for us in Gurbani. We just need to go back to Gurbani and see what is Guru Sahib Ji actually telling us. They're saying the Gurus before Guru Gobind Singh Ji didn't teach us this stuff. Guru Arjan Dev Ji saying, Main gormel uch damalla da. When I go see Guru Sahib Ji, I'm wearing a tall damalla. So these misconceptions that people have where, and you can take that onto Amrit as well, right? Amrit sakandi ki loda. Yeah, what's the need to take Amrit?
Very big one.
I can be the Dil Saaf Jatha, right? That's our biggest thing,
that's
right?
how we call them.
Dil Saaf hona chahiye, right?
Yeah.
Or we just need a clean heart, yeah?
Sikhi dil ch hundi hai.
Sikhi dil ch hundi hai. We just we need to have Sikhi in our hearts. We need to have the message in our hearts, and we don't need to show anything outside.
That's a missionary perspective and version of Sikhi.
Yeah. And it's what's happened with colonization, where they've destroyed this bana that we have and taken away Gurbani from us as well. And we now no longer understand what Guru Sahib Ji is telling us in Gurbani, right? They say, I can be a good person, I don't need to take Amrit. Yeah, I don't need to follow Guru Sahib Ji's vachans. If we're Sikh, yeah, if we call ourselves Sikh, how can we call ourselves a good person without commanding Guru Sahib Ji's vachan? Now, if they say that we don't need to take Amrit because we're good people, was Guru Gobind Singh not a good person? They were God themselves.
They were God themselves,
yeah.
And after they gave the power to the Panch Pyare,
they asked for Amrit
themselves.
They asked for Amrit Didat, right? What was the need for them to take Amrit? They're the most perfect being that will ever be upon earth.
And to say they're the ones that started the Amrit, they started it. What was the need for them to have it themselves?
What was the need for them? And even then, that point, right? People say that Amrit Guru Gobind Singh Ji ne shikaya. Nahi. Amrit's been there from day dot, from Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. We aren't taught these things. We're not told. Charan Paul, right? Charan Paul shikaya, Charan Amrit shikaya janda si. The Guru Sikhs would wash Guru Sahib Ji's feet, their Charan Kamal, and they drink Amrit from that, right? And that's how you became a Guru Sikh. That's how you became one of the Guru's own. In Anand Sahib, we read every single day, Sor nar munjan Amrit khoj de so Amrit gurte paya, paya Amrit gur kirpa kini sacha man vasaya. That's in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj in Anand Sahib, the full 40 paudi of Anand Sahib that we read Amrit Vela Bani, right? Maharaj is talking about Amrit in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj far before Guru Gobind Singh Ji. This is Guru Amar Das Ji's Bani. So if we go back to Gurbani, Maharaj is giving us all these examples about everything. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, what they did is khanda pher ke by stirring the khanda, they made this dread. They made it maryada, they made it stern. Yeah, they made it an order for every Gursikh to follow this. And it became mandate.
Yeah.
Does it mean that this wasn't a maryada beforehand? No. All these things have been there before. It's just a misconception that we have that have been placed upon us that Guru Gobind Singh, they made this new way and they changed everything. There were loads of Gursikhs at the time as well. There's a story about when Baba Bajitra Singh Ji was going to go fight the elephant with the Nagani Barsha. And there was another person that was there at the time who was given the Barsha and he was told to go fight. Maharaj said to him, Tum Guru kar da hathiyan ja ke lad, right? And
he tried escaping.
He tried escaping. And what he said at that time, if I'm not mistaken, was that Pehle Guru Sahib ta pehle kade bhi nahi jang lad desi. And he ran away to Amritsar, and on the way he got bitten by a snake, right? And he goes, the first Guru Sahibs never used to go to jang. They never used to do all this stuff. Guru Gobind Singh Ji's gone crazy. They're sending me into battle. And he ran away and went back to Amritsar and died on the way, right? He broke his leg when he jumped down to run away. So and even then, there's a misconception that the 10 Guru Sahib Jis are different right? Guru Gobind Singh Ji Vakreya, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Vakreya. Nanak Guru Gobind Singh Ji Puran Guru Avatar, right? Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, they are one, right? They are one Swaroop. They are not one Swaroop. They are the one Jot that's passed through those 10 Swaroops. They are the same being. The same Panth that Guru Nanak Dev Ji started is the same Panth that Guru Gobind Singh Ji started, and it's the same Maryada that they follow. If we go to Shastra, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj carried an asa, which is a stick. They carried Shastra. Guru Nanak Dev Ji's weapons, there's weapons of Guru Nanak Dev Ji at Sri Hazur Sahib. Maharaj's Teg, their sword, Maharaj's Chakkar, right? There's a Gurdwara in China, I think it's been torn down or broken down now. It's in Tibet or China, somewhere around there, called Dang Mar Sahib, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj whacked their dang on someone's head, right? So if you're saying the Guru Sahib before were pacifists and they were peaceful people, purely peaceful people, of course they were peaceful, but were they pacifists? No. They were all Shastatari as well, right? So people trying to say that Guru Gobind Singh Ji started this Nami Maryada and they changed things and so on, it's all rubbish. These Maryada, this Maryada of Shastra, this Maryada of Case, Amrit, it's all been there from day dot. If we go into Gur Tehas, right? Gur Bilas Padshahi Shimi, right? So we read into our Ittihasa Granth. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj taught Shastra Vidya to Baba Buddha Ji.
Yeah.
Baba Buddha Ji gave that worldly Sikhya. Of course, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji is a Kal Purkhwagi themselves, but in the worldly sense, they gave that teaching to Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji of Shastra Vidya. Shastra Vidya is the timeless science of weapons. That's what you can call it.
Yeah.
The martial arts of the Khalsa Panth, right? This martial race, these martial arts came from Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. They gave it to Baba Buddha Ji. Baba Buddha Ji passed that to Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. And then that goes down for all Guru Sikh, all Guru Sahibs and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And even if you go to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Maharaj gives us Jangi Bani, right? They give us Biras Di Bani, warriors, Bani infused warrior spirit. Sura so pehchaniya jo lada deen ke het purja kat mara kabu na chade ke. And we see that live, we see that coming to life from Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shaheed, right? By Bhai Mani Singh Ji is cut limb by limb. They're not, of course they're living by the bachans of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, but they're living by the bachans of Bhagat Kabir Ji in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So all these things have been there since day dot. They're found in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but we're made to think that Guru Gobind Singh Ji's made this new way and this stuff isn't really true Sikhi and it's just been made. Maybe not true Sikhi, but it's just been like we're just becoming too militant and changing everything.
Yeah, we've come to
Kattar.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. But yeah, I think that's very important. And even like people like, what's the need of bringing Shastras into Gurdwara? Like that was like one of the comments that people make about 84.
Yeah.
Go to Akal Takht, go to Hazur Sahib, Shastras everywhere. Go to any Gurdwara.
Yeah.
I know some days, like, unfortunately, there are some Gurdwara where they don't have Shastra Prakash, but 99% of Gurdwara, they have Shastra Prakash in front of Maharaj.
So
and even going into history, back in the day, before we like printing presses, before like Maharaj was printed on a bigger scale, there wasn't many Swaroops. Most Gurdwara that were there at that time, not many of them had like Maharaj Swaroop. What they'd have is Shastras. There'd just be a Barkaf Shastras in the Gurdwara.
Yeah. And even you just given me a thing. We're going back to the last point about the respect of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It's something that I slightly missed and I was going to go over. Because you were talking about the Takhts and the Shastra and stuff, right? If we want to see pure Satkar of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, the Singhs were telling me, so Baba Anhadar Singh Ji, they, and all the Sevadars at the Asthan, they go to Sri Hazur Sahib every year after a Salat Samagam and they do an account part of Hazur Sahib. When they were there, they were telling me this after. This is the place where Guru Granth Sahib Ji was given the Gurta Gati. So when Guru Gobind Singh Ji passed the Guruship onto Guru Granth Sahib Ji, at Sri Hazur Sahib, you can see the pure Satkar of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. The absolute, like, maximum, the way that the Guru Khalsa lived. And if we're talking about decolonizing the Sikh mindset, Hazur Sahib is the perfect example.
100%.
Because Hazur Sahib is in Dakhan Desh. It's in Maharashtra down south. This is the one takht that wasn't touched by the British, right? It's our only seat of authority that wasn't touched by the British, and the British didn't have any impact on it. Sri Hazur Sahib, when you go there, the way that the Singhs respect Guru Granth Sahib Ji is beyond par. they were giving me an example. Let's say you can see this mouse on the screen here, right? Let's say if I put this mouse here, this mouse is where Guru Granth Sahib Ji is. Let's say if a Singh standing slightly to the right of where Guru Granth Sahib Ji's takht is, and he needs to cross the path of Guru Granth Sahib Ji to get something, he won't do that. They won't even walk past Guru Granth Sahib Ji. They have so much respect. They will leave Sachkhand, walk around the Guru Car, and come in from the other side to then get what they needed. Even if it's just a 2 meter walk just to grab something and quickly go back, they have that much sadqah of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And that is the effect of colonization we can see. Where when the printing press came in, you were talking about the printing press, right?
Yeah.
When the printing press came in and Guru Granth Sahib Ji started to be printed and sent around the whole world, that's where we've lost respect to Guru Granth Sahib Ji.
Because there's such like it's mass produced.
Balraj is too available.
Yeah, it's too available.
It's sad to say, but Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Swarups are way too commonly available.
And we've seen these Badwis happening, especially in Canada, where the Maharaj being shipped through container ships.
Yeah, in airplanes and so on. Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj was first only ever written Hath Likhat Swarups, right? Baba Deep Singh Sahib Ji, by Mani Singh Sahib Ji, by Mani Singh Shaheed. They used to write Swarups by hand. And they used to send these Swarups. Either, if you wanted to have darshan of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, you had to go to one of the takhts, one of the Itihasa Guru Kars, or you had to go, or the Chalda Vahir. So Panjma Takht had to come to your pind, right? Buddha Dal had to come to your pind, and then you do darshan of Guru Sahib Ji. Then you'd be able to take Amrit. You take Amrit at the takhts, or you take Amrit at where the Dal came to your pind, right? And of course, this had to change later on when the Dal had to go to Hazur Sahib. Baba Atar Singh Ji started doing Amar Sanchar, so on. Baba Atar Singh Ji, like, we bow down at their charan as well. Boward but at Siri Hazur Sahib, that if we want to take an example of decolonized Sikhi and the way that we truly do Satkar of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, of Guru Sahib Ji, Siri Hazur Sahib is the perfect example where they've got everything, the pure Satkar. So if we as Gursikhs want to be humble and take an example of how we should do respect to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, that is the example we should take of Siri Hazur Sahib.
And I think, that's really important how you mentioned Hazur Sahib, with the respect they have for Maharaj.
Yeah.
And not only Maharaj, but the Gursikhs around them as well.
Yeah.
Like, I remember a Singh going to Hazur Sahib last year. I saw his Instagram story, and he was like, he met a random Singh there. The Singh was giving him lifts around Hazur Sahib. Just because it's so prem, that he was another Singh, came from the UK, doesn't have his own ride. He was showing him around.
Yeah, that's how the PR should be between the Khalsa, between the Panth.
And especially another thing with Hazur Sahib is the importance of Shastras that they have there.
Yeah.
All Singhs there are Shastratari. Like you hear Kathas from Ganesher Singh Ji as well, and other Pacharaks as well. They were like, in 84, when we had massacre in Delhi, they wanted to do that in Hazur Sahib as well.
Yeah.
Why they couldn't do it? Everyone was Tiyar bar Tiyar.
Everyone was Shastratari.
They could be poor, their house could be small. Shastras, don't talk about that. Shastras would be the biggest thing for them.
So I remember Balraj Singh Ji talking about this, right? Of course, the Indian media and the Indian state had a big impact on this, right? But the Khalsa thing is always to look back at ourselves and see what our mistakes are, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's come from the British. When the British, they banned in the 1920s, the British banned the Nishan Sahibs of the Panth. They banned the Nagare, they banned the Shastar, the Tinhuti Teg and the Barsha in the times of Baba Sahib Singh Ji Kalatari, right? And they banned our Shastar and stuff, and now we have these small city subs that we wear now.
Or Baba Ji worked hard, and then we got like the Buddha licenses, which came on a later date.
Yeah.
Things like that. But that was a lot of struggle that we faced from the colonization of the British. But yeah.
So the Shastar that were there from beforehand, I lost the point I was making.
Sorry.
No, so the Shastra that were there from beforehand, we can see it as Ziri Hazur Sahib, right? All the Guru Sahib Ji Shastra there, right? And for example, that was the effect of colonization.
Yeah.
My bad. I forgot where I was going. The effect of colonization, where these Shastra, we've been given such tiny Shastra compared to the old Shastra that we used to have, right? The Nishans had a banned, the Nagari were banned, the Shastra were banned, right? And now we have these tiny city subs that we have now. That is another effect of colonization.
Half of them, when you buy them, you can't even open them.
Yeah.
They won't even come out of the
if we go to Siri Hazur Sahib, we see all the Guru Sahib Shastras there and the respect that we have from there. It's when this banning of the Shastras happened, it's become so derogatory and so weird or so militant to have Shastra. Shastra sade pira. Now, yet again, let's go back to Gurbani, right? Askir paan khando khadak to bhakt barati sasro hi sati yah hamare peer. Yeah, it's sade pira, right? This is the Sikhi is made from a khanda, right? The whole world is made from a khanda. Let's go back to Gurbani again. All of us, we read the Ardas, right?
Yeah.
Pratham Bhagavati se marga Guru Nanak lahi te aaye. The body, right after that, Maharaj says, Khanda Pratham Saj ka jina sab se saro paya in Chandi Diwar. Yeah? A lot of people might not know this, and they have misconceptions about Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji as well, right? The Ardas, the beginning of the Ardas is from Dasam Guru Granth Sahib, from Chandi Diwar. Right? Yeah. And straight after that, Maharaj saying, Khanda Pratham Saj ka jina sab se saro paya. The whole world was created using the Khanda, right? Created using a Shastra, right? Guru Gobind Singh, Guru Vaheguru Ji created the world using a Shastra, using a Khanda. If we weren't supposed to keep Shastra, yeah, if Shastra were wrong, why would Maharaj be saying this in Gurbani? Yeah, why would we be told these things in Gurbani? This British effect, the effect of colonization that took us away from Shastra, right? They couldn't handle the Sikhs being Shastra. They couldn't understand it. Me and you were talking the other day about the British. There's an account of a British soldier calling Nihang Singhs a madman and calling them
barbaric.
Barbaric people. I think just Meet Singh talks about this in the last podcast as well.
Yeah, the way that they were fighting, like obviously, like Nihang Singhs have their own Maryada, Shidi De, Garagade.
Yeah.
When they're so tiyar but they are in that Biras, the British were writing, like I was doing these research for the Instagram post that I made as well. Yeah. They're like, they're so full with the Jangi Biras. Every var that they do, Vahe Guru.
Yeah.
They're full on in such biras, such a frenzy, in such a mode that they're literally walking over the enemy that they've killed. They're literally walking over dead bodies. Yeah. They were like, how can we get over this? And I was reading another narrative account was, they were like, if we try and change the Sikhi, that wouldn't happen. I can't remember the full thing, but they're like, if we try and do some of these things, we won't be trying to weaken them. We'll just be doing their prachar. Yeah. They're like, if we want to counter them, we need to try and bring Christianity up and come up from a different view, which is what they did. They built a town hall or a cathedral in Darbar Sahib.
Yeah, so you can see that photo.
I'll post it up on the page.
And we'll try to get all the punktis that we've been going through on the screen as well if we can.
But these things happen. I'm working on a post about the clock tower that we had.
Yeah.
In Darbar Sahib, like by Balraj Singh ji, they've talked about this before as well.
Yeah.
In the Darbar Sahib complex that we have, in the Darbar Sahib complex, the British made a clock tower, an old Gothic, ugly clock tower towering over Maharaj.
Towering over
Harmandir Sahib.
Yeah. So it's all these different ways that they've tried targeting the Panth. And we can understand. So we were talking about 1984, right? That's where it came from, right?
Yeah.
So the British are taking away our Shastra, right? So when we did the poll on Instagram the other day, we talked about this as well. So when the Mughals attacked us, we had to keep Shastra because they were directly attacking us. They were coming for us.
It's force.
They were coming for us, trying to take our heads, and we had to keep Shastra, right? They couldn't really ban our Shastra. They were banning us instead. Yeah. They're putting mull on Singh's head, right? 200,000 pounds on every single Sikh's head. When the British came, they attacked us directly, but they also infiltrated the system. When they annexed Punjab, they changed Sikhi, right? If we read Bhai Ratan Singh Ji Pangu, right? Panth Prakash, and they're talking to Captain Murray, and they're very unapologetic about the way the Khalsa deals with things,
Manji.
And the way the Khalsa is, right? The way that Sikhi is, they're very unapologetic about it. If we compare that from him explaining this to the British, to the way that the British then left Sikhi and left our mindset, completely different. They destroyed that concept of reliance on Gurbani. Well, not destroyed it. You can never wipe out Gursikhs. You never wipe out Gurbani. And as Gyani Sher Singh says, Sikhi Samer Parvata, and nothing can ever destroy Sikhi. But they tried their absolute best. And they didn't just attack us directly. They infiltrated the system. They changed our beliefs, right? They made this weird Christianized version of Sikhi, going to the Gurdwara on Sundays and not keeping Shastra and just looking as Guru Sahib as a prophet. A whole load of things. Yeah. And this leads on to my next point as well. They left us in a sense where we keep going with tangents as well. Can't stop myself when I get started.
Good. That's what the podcast is for. It's a mutual discussion that we're having. and the Sangat feels like they're in this conversation
Yeah.
itself. This is just a conversation.
So I tried my best in that sense, where we did a
Yeah.
poll on Instagram and got all the Sangat's opinions and stuff. So I'm trying to include those as well, right? They left Sikhi in a state where we weren't able to grow, we weren't able to expand Sikhi, we weren't able to teach more people about Sikhi. Not that we care about numbers, it's always quality over quantity. However, it doesn't mean that we weren't supposed to spread, right? Guru Arjan Dev Ji tells us in Sukhmani Sahib, Aap japa hai, avrai naam japave. That a Guru Sikh's job is to jap naam themselves and teach people about naam and get them to jap naam as well, right? And they stopped us from this kind of stuff. The Christian missionaries came to Punjab and they started spreading. And we see it's a big problem now as well, where there's loads of Christian missionaries in Punjab and so on. And they stopped us from doing pratar. Now, it moves on to our next misconception that I wanted to go through, where it's a very common belief that Sikhs don't convert. Maybe conversion is not the right word, but they believe that Sikhs don't spread the religion, they don't preach.
Prachar, yeah.
They don't spread the dharma. It's very, very easy to destroy that argument. So simple. And it's a very bad misconception as well, because how are we supposed to bring other people into Sikhi if we're not doing prachar, right? There's first we can go to Sukhmani Sahib, the pankti that I just said, then some of the common sayings, and then go to Tehas. Sukhmani Sahib, Maharaj says, Aap japa hai, avrai naam japave, right? Jap naam yourself and teach others about naam. If we're not doing prachar, if we're not teaching people about that, how are we supposed to live up to that bachan of Guru Arjan Dev Ji? Right? Everyone reads Sukhmani Sahib. Maharaj tells us it all the time. But are we actually doing this? Are we following this bachan? Right?
Yeah.
Are we going out and spreading the naam? Right? Spreading the name of, spreading the teaching Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Teaching more people about the teaching Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Right? And of course there's different ways to do that, right? Then the sayings of the culture, like we said earlier. Puja akal ki, parcha sabd ka, didar khal seda. Right? Unhone akal di puja karna. We need to teach the whole world about puja of akal, right? Doing puja of akal, connecting with the Akal Purkh Vaheguru. How do we do that? Parcha sabd ka. Parcha ki hunda paricha, prachar, right? Parcha is to teach people, is to preach, right? It's to tell them about Gurbani. Conversion is not the right word, because conversion is to take someone who's happy in their faith,
And be like,
denigrate
that's
their
not
faith,
right.
yeah, to
Do it this
denigrate
way.
it, destroy their faith, and then bring them into your own. What a Gursikh's job to do is to teach people about Gurbani, teach people about Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and bring them into the fold of Sikhi. So hopefully, Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji said it best as well. I keep going back to Bhai Jagraj Singh because he was the master of this, right? After a Gursikh has done prachar to someone, the goal should be one or two things. One is that they stay in their dharm, but they start jumping naam, right? So the main goal is always naam, right?
Yeah. For them, like if they're sticking to their own religion,
Yeah.
follow it to the best of their ability.
Yeah. So for example, Guru Gobind Singh Ji says in Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it's a famous shabad, Bang ke mangali, Faranga ke faranga wali.
Yeah.
Either at the end of that shabad or the next shabad, Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Jineh to hite ayo, tin puran pratap payo. Whoever meditates upon Vaheguru Ji obtains Vaheguru's complete blessings. Yeah, puran pratap, right? So our job is to teach the naam, is to spread the naam, right? Because what is naam? Sagar dharma mein shrestha dharma, right? The highest dharma of all dharmas is naam, right? So even if they're going to stay in their dharma and stay in their way of life, hopefully after a Gursikh does prachar to someone, either they start jumping naam. So let's say if they're a Muslim, right? In Islam, they have 99 names of Allah. Yeah, tasbih, like taking a tasbih, they start doing jap of Allah's name, right?
Yeah.
Rahim, Kareem, right? Allah, Rab. So they start taking these names. If we do prachar to a Hindu, jada pakka hove, right? Hopefully he becomes more ingrained in his dharma and he starts jumping Ram in his own sense as well. Starts jumping Ram, right? Like the Hare Krishnas do. Krishnas, I personally love Hare Krishnas. I think they're amazing. So I go to SOAS and the Hare Krishnas have like a langar set up right outside our uni and they give langar every day.
Yeah,
and
I've
they
seen them when I went past the uni.
Yeah, and they do Naam Simran, they do Kirtan, right? And they jap the name of Vaheguru in their own way, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, that's what they sing, right? So hopefully when a Gursikh does prachar to someone, either they start jumping Naam in their own dharma or they become a Sikh, right? They start following the bachans of Guru Granth Sahib Ji.
Sikhi principle.
Yeah, the Sikhi way of life. Now, the third way that we can prove this is Gur Tehas. If we go to the times of Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj, well, let's start from Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji traveled around the whole world. Maharaj did 4 dasiyas, so they traveled around the world in 4 separate stages, right? 4 times. It said that Maharaj went even as far as Rome, and even beyond that, some Gursikhs say. Traveling and spreading Gursikhi, spreading Naam, teaching about Sat Kartar. They even went to Mecca, right? And many people might not know this. The first Shaheed of the Panth, it was the head Granthi, let's say, the head Pujari of Mecca, Qazi Rukunuddin, when he was killed in Mecca for saying that I have found Khuda, I have found Vaheguruji, I have found Allah, is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, right? The same person that came to Guru Nanak Dev Ji when many of us must have heard the story where Guru Nanak Dev Ji is lying down, they got their feet towards the Kaaba, and someone comes to twist it around. That was Qazi Rukunuddin that came, right? And this the Qazi Rukunuddin becomes after spending time with Guru Nanak Dev Ji, becomes a Gursikh of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and is killed for his belief in Guru Nanak Dev Ji, for saying Guru Nanak Dev Ji is Allah, right? So Guru Nanak Dev Ji, and he's the first Shaheed of the Panth. Guru Nanak Dev Ji did that prachar. They went everywhere and did that prachar of Vaheguru, of Sat Kartar. Yeah, they taught people about Vaheguru Ji, right? They were Vaheguru Ji themselves, but they taught people about Naam, and they gave Naam to everyone. Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj sent out 150 prachariks around the world, around India, and around the world, necessary in some sense, around South Asia, to do prachar of Gursikhi, right? 52 of those prachariks were women, right? So Maharaj just sent all these people out, even women, so that shows the equality, the sense of equality in Sikhi, and how futuristic Sikhi is, right? Maharaj is sending 150 prachariks, 52 of these are women, and they're sending these people out to do prachar of Sikhi, right? To teach people about Satnam, right?
Yeah.
If we weren't supposed to spread the Dharam, if we weren't supposed to do this Parcha Shabad Ka and teach people about the Shabad, right? Introduce them to the Shabad and give them the Didar of the Khalsa, right? Give them the Darshan of the Khalsa, show them what the Khalsa looks like. If we weren't supposed to do these things, then why have Maharaj done it? Why has Maharaj done it, right? If we weren't a converting faith and we weren't supposed to spread our Dharam, and we just stick to ourselves and Naam japi jao, ape gurdware jai jao, take all the laha for yourself, do all the Naam jap for yourself, but don't spread it to anyone else. Sikhi isn't selfish. Gursikhs aren't selfish. The job of a Gursikh is to jap Naam themselves and spread it around. Teach people about Sikhi, right? And we really, really need to focus on this. Of course, right? Punjab and Punjabiyat is very important. But we keep bashing our heads together in between each other, fighting in between each other. We're supposed to go out to the world and teach other people about Sikhi.
I think, going off from that, I think, when Maharaj gave Padshahi to the Khalsa Panth as well, I think they were, I can't remember this fully, but they were telling us saying like, I'll give you Raj, and then they were like, I'm just happy with like the bit that I have, like Punjab.
Yeah.
Because that's our mindset. Like Punjab, we just have our own thing.
Yeah.
We show off to others. We got our Raj. That's it. But Punjab is not the only thing. Like this goes on to like the topic of Khalistan.
Yeah.
I know it's a very political thing to cover.
Yeah.
But if we think about it, if we think about Khalistan on its own, it goes. We can't just only have Punjab. You have our Takht Hazur Sahib all the way in Maharashtra as well. There's a lot of things we have to talk about. But what I think of, it's Padshahi Dawa, and how Maharaj said that at one point the Khalsa is going to rule over the world.
Yeah.
Maharaj gave us this view from day one.
Yeah. So when it comes to Khalistan and political issues like that, look, at the end of the day, Apa Panth did us, all right? We are servants of the Panth.
Yeah.
Whatever hukum the Panth does, whatever order the Panth gives, sirmati, we'll take it upon. But just going to Gurbani and Gur Itihas, right? In terms of like political issues like Khalistan and so on. Not saying I'm not at all going against it, right? I'm not going against it and saying no. What I'm saying is that Sant Jarnail Singh Ji's buttons, right? Sant Gani Jarnail Singh Ji Khalsa Point. They said, Khalistan mangan wale ho, pehla Khalsa bano. Right? Become Khalsa first.
When you shout out Jakare,
yeah,
you have like, I've seen this a lot as well. Like there'll be Mone, like no Dari, they'll have a Ramal on. When you do a Jakara, you should have that Pera as well. Like, it's a different thing, innit?
Yeah.
When you have Maharaj's Roop and then you're going for that.
Yeah, so...
You can't just have, like, for example, you say if you have Khalistan, it's a Sikh state. If you're not practicing the Sikh principles, What's the point? What's
look,
the
some
point
people
of
would
it?
argue that allows it to continue more.
Yeah.
But let's say Sant Jeet Bachchan's were Khalistan Mangan Wale Pehla Khalsa bano, na? Become Khalsa first. We look at all these issues that the Indian state's putting towards us, right? And everything that's happened. The reason why we're going through so much like this is because we're not following Guru Sahib Ji's Bachchan, right?
100%.
We're not following what Guru Sahib Ji said. We're not becoming Khalsa, right? Not in a judgmental way and not in a way to put people down. But if we were following Guru Sahib Ji's Bachchans, half of the stuff that happened to us, we'd be able to stay away from it. Siri Hazur Sahib, everyone was Shasta's Dari. That's why nothing happened there.
Multiple
In
Shastras.
Delhi,
No one.
different case, no one has Shastra, right? The story of Sanjana Singh Ji when they went to someone's house and they saw the fridge in the TV.
Yeah.
They said, "Koi chad ke agar fridge marna sir TV," right? If someone comes to attack you, are you gonna chuck the fridge in their head or you chuck the TV?
And they gave them this warning. And
They
look
gave
what
them
happened in the
Shastra.
future after that.
When their house got attacked, they all had revolvers. They're standing on the top of the house and they're shooting dead anyone that came to attack them, right?
Yeah. There were a
They-
handful of things that
Because
fought back.
they stuck on the button of Mahapurush, they stuck on Guru Sahib Ji's buttons, right? If we as a Panth started following Guru Sahib Ji's buttons, right? Mara says Jabla Khalsa Rahe Neara, Tabla Tej Diyo Mesara. That when we stay, that's Sarblo Granth Maharaj, hai na? When we stick to the buttons of Guru Sahib Ji, right? When we stay unique, in the sense that Khalsa follows the Maryada Guru Gobind Singh Ji, right? Khalsa Rahe Neara, when we stay unique and we follow the buttons of Guru Sahib Ji, Tabla Tej Diyo Mesara, that I'll give my full support. Guru Gobind Singh Ji saying, I'll give my full support. If we aren't following the Khalsa's Maryada, we aren't following the ways of the Khalsa, we aren't waking up Amartullah, jumping Naam, right? We aren't staying Shastra Tari, right? And we should all be training, myself very much included. We should all be training, staying, like, learning how to use weapons, staying fit and healthy and so on. We all need to work on that. If we're not following these buttons of Guru Sahib Ji, what do we expect?
100%.
What do we expect to happen to us?
And even going off that, I'd give this as an example. We had our Khalsa Raj. How do we get that? We
Bhakti
following
and Shakti.
we had the Bhakti and the Shakti, and we're following Guru's Hukum. Nowadays, it's easier than ever to do that. You got so many resources. The reason why we're not getting there is because we've left out Sikhi with the main principles.
Yeah.
Jumping Naam.
Yeah.
We've left Naam to the side.
Yeah, 100%. Naam is the Naam. We're talking about. So Naam is the Mud Maryada, right? The first Maryada that we have, Eko Naam Hukm hai. Nanak Satgur Diya Bajai Jiyo, right? That the one Naam, Eko Naam, is a Hukm. It's an order for Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So the first order that we have is Naam, yeah, and then comes the Piri, right? We say Miri Piri, but first becomes the Piri, right? The Pir side of things, right? Being that saint, the Sant Sipahi, right? And then comes then comes the Sipahi, right? Then comes the warrior side of things, right? That Shakti comes from the Bhakti. Sanjana Singh Ji Khalsa Pindarali, if we take them for example, they did 101 Japji subs every single day. That's why they had that Shakti to go and fight. Do we have that? Yeah, we're doing Nare and so on. Look, fine. I understand, and I'm not the most politically aware. I haven't studied it too much, but look, I understand the perspective of people that want Khalistan and so on. I'm not going to argue against it either, right? Because Panth hukum karda ta hukum karda, right? Sir mathe. But we need to understand that the main thing, Maharaj tells us in Gurbani, Sagali Tarti Sadgi. The whole world, Sagal Tarti, belongs to the Sad, belongs to the Sadhus. Sadhu ki hunda, what is a Sadhu, right? Sasa Simran, Tada Dharm, Sadhu. Those who do Simran and those who spread Dharm, those who fight for Dharm, righteousness. Who does Simran and fights for righteousness? The Khalsa.
That's why.
That's the same thing Sanjana Singh saying.
Yeah.
Pelna Khalsa bano. We've probably seen, so Baba Jaginder Singh Ji's Swaroops there, Sanjana Singh Ji, a lot of the Gor Sikhs in the UK, the Taksal Singhs would have done Darshan and Seva of Baba Thakur Singh Ji. A lot of people would have done Darshan of Baba Avatar Singh Ji. I myself have seen Baba Jaswant Singh Ji, Puram Brahmagyani. The way a lot of Sangat in the UK might have seen Santisha Singh Ji as well, right? These Mahapurushs lived like Raja. They live like kings of the world. Why? Because they're not affected by the ways of the world. They are pure Khalsa. They are the form of Khalsa. If we started following the ways of Khalsa, Sagli Tarti ta saadi honi hai. The whole world's ours. But the reason why we're being oppressed in the way we are, the reason why we're being struck down the way we are of course it comes to colonialism and the Indian media and so on and the state and the way that they're oppressing. But we need to look at our own fault as well. Where we're not following Guru Sahib's bachans, and that's why this stuff's coming to us. That's why we're being attacked in this way. And let's go back to the last point, right? The point of spreading, doing prachar and so on. The reason that thing of not doing prachar, it leads to another misconception, another very big misconception that a lot of Sikhs have. And that misconception is that all religions are equal. Every religion is equal, right? A lot of Guru Sikhs believe this. Well, not Guru Sikhs, but a lot of people believe this, that all religions are equal and every religion is okay. You can believe whatever religion you want. Everyone has the freedom to religion. Everyone has the freedom to belief. They can believe whatever they want.
100%.
However, where in Gurbani does it say that all religions are equal? Nowhere. If it was that case, what was the need for Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj to make Sikhi? Yeah? Maharaj says, Marya Sikha Jagat Vich, Nanak Nirmal Panth Chalaya. That by they struck the coin, the Sikha, they struck that Sikha, that coin, into the world, Nanak Nirmal Panth Chalaya, that they've created the pure path, the Nirmal Panth. What does Nirmal mean? Pure. What's another word for that? Khalsa. The Khalsa Panth, Nirmal Panth, right? Maharaj has created this new path, right? Then later on Gurbani we hear shabads like Teesra Panth Khalsa Upajo Pradhana, right? The third panth, so the first panth you'd have is the Sanatan Dharma, right? The Hindu way.
Yeah.
The second panth you'd have is the Muslim way,
Islamic
or
way.
the Abrahamic way, right?
Yeah.
The Judaism, Christianity, Islam. So that's the second panth. Teesra panth Khalsa Upajo Pradhana. They are Pradhan, is the greatest of all, right? So where in Gurbani does it say that every religion is equal? What would it be what we're confusing this with is that Vaheguru Ji lives inside everyone. In that sense, every human is equal, right? Every manas ki jaat sab ek hai pehchanabo. Yeah? The whole world, every person in this world is equal in the sense that we all have that light of Vaheguru Ji inside of us. But does that mean every religion is equal? No. And Baba Jaswant Singh Ji gave us a perfect example of this. I'm not trying to say any religion is bad. What I'm saying is it's a misconception that all religions are equal, right? Baba Jaswant Singh Ji gave a perfect example of this. There was a Jehovah's Witness that came to a house where Baba Ji was, and they came to Baba Ji, started talking to Baba Ji. They were trying to convert Baba Jaswant Singh Ji, saying become a Christian or become a Jehovah's Witness or whatever. And Baba Ji said, and they were trying to convert them, and they said, "Don't worry, I don't need it. I'm already on that path. Yeah, I'm already on the way to see God." Right? And they said, "Why? What do you mean?" And Babaji's answer to them was, "Look, you guys are happy in your way. I'm happy in mine, right? And that's Guru Gobind Singh Ji's answer to Aurangzeb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tumka khoob, hame hamara khoob. Something to that extent, where yours is beautiful to you, mine is beautiful for me. That's what Babaji said first. But then afterwards they explained. They said, let's say if you were to go from London to Manchester, what would be the easiest way for you to go? And they answered, obviously, it would be the motorway, right? The motorway is the easiest way to get from London to Manchester. You jump on the M1 or whatever motorway you want, and you're there in a jiffy, right? You're there quick. And then Babaji asked, what are the other ways to get to Manchester? You can go through the A roads, you can go through the countrysides, but those are a lot longer, right? And then Babaji said, that's it. I'm already on the motorway. Your method is still going to get you there, right? Naam jap ke, you'll still get there. You can follow Islam, you can follow your Dharma. Haje bhi tusme uthe pahunch jonge. But what Sikhi is that Sumer Parbat. It's that direct path. It's that highest mountain. It's going to get you there straight away. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj goes over this in Bachitra Natak, right? In their autobiography, right? Guru Gobind Singh Ji goes over and they say Akala Purkh Bach. So they're talking as Vaheguru Ji, and they say that they created the Devi Devti, the Hindu gods, right? But over time, they went into their own ego and they started doing things in their own way. Then Maharaj goes, Mahadeen Tab Prabhu Praja, that I then created Muhammad, right? Arabades Koki no Raja, that I created him and I made him the king of Arabia. But what did he do? Sabate Apana Naam Japayo. He taught everyone about his own name. Satnam Kahuna Dirdayo. that he didn't teach anyone about Satnam. That is straight from Gurbani. What did Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj come here to do? Ik Oankar Satnam. That is the first thing they taught us, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, how can Sikhi and how can Khalsa be equal to anything? They can't. Does it mean we as Gursikhs, does it mean we talk bad about them? No. Does it mean we put them down and we act big man and well, yeah, my religion's better than yours and we're better? No, not at all. We don't do that. However, it doesn't mean that we believe all religions are equal. Sikhi is that Sumer Parbat. It is the greatest path, right? And why? It's not because of us. It's because of our Guru. Guru Vadaya, right? Sabate Vadda Sat Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is the greatest of all, right? Je Guru Nanak Sab to Vadda, to ona da panth vi sab to vadda hona hai na. Their panth is the greatest of all as well. If Guru Nanak Dev Ji is the highest, so it's another little misconception that they've.
It is a big one, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff comes from it comes from the British, from the colonizers as well, where they've made us think that our religion, they've confused us and made us think that it's a Western thing. It's a very Western thing.
It is.
Where let's treat everyone equally. Of course, we treat everyone equally. We've had this from
that's
way long
one
before.
of our day one principles.
Yeah, but a lot of the West, the Sikhs in the West, everyone's equal, just to make everyone, just to make people that they're working with happy and make the Westerners happy. Oh, yeah, we believe everyone's equal, every religion's equal, and so on. Every person is equal because we have Vaheguru inside us, but it doesn't mean every religion's equal. It's a big misconception.
Yeah, I think another thing that I'd like to cover, especially with the polls that we did, was how the Sikh youth can transform Sikhi going forward.
Yeah.
Because, we've discussed about colonization, what government bodies have been doing, but how can us as a collective youth, as the Panth in the West and in India itself, how can we come together and bring Sikhi forward?
It's a big topic, isn't it?
It is a big topic.
I think I'm going back to Balraj Singh ji again.
Yeah.
Balraj Singh, I think they said it best. They've got a video called Balraj Singh's got a video called "What Does the Next Generation Need to Do?"
Yeah.
And if anyone hasn't watched it, we'll try to put it in the description if you can, right?
I'll link on social media. I'll put it in story. I'll put a post as well.
That video is something that every single young Sikh needs to watch. And the way that we need to transform ourselves and the way the young generation needs to transform ourselves is like we've been doing so far in this podcast.
Yeah.
You base your Sikhi of two things. First is Gurbani, Ittihas. So the Guru's word and then the history of the Khalsa. Anything beyond that does not inform Sikhi. If you want to study Sikhi and you want to have authentic Sikhi from its mod, from its root, you need to take it from Gurbani and from Ittihas.
Gavatyati Grant. Have a look at that.
And not from anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
And it's from that we'll be able to break away from these misconceptions that we've been going through, and also we'll be able to reinvigorate true Sikhi. Our elders came here and they had to work hard, as you said earlier, came here, worked hard, grinded, put in that effort to make these establishments for us. They've given us these resources, right? We now need to dive in with these resources that we have and find out what is true Sikhi. And Balraj Singh says, you're gonna find it very, very difficult, right? People are probably gonna find you very annoying when you're saying, oh, where does it say that? Yeah, the cow, right? Or every religion's equal, like we just said, right? A perfect example is that quote that we see everywhere, right? Oh, before becoming a good Sikh, Hindu, Muslim, become a good human first.
It's a made
Where
up.
is it written? It's a made up quote, right? I've had people in Sikhi presentations and Sikhi camps giving me that quote, right?
We've had it in school as well.
Yeah, where does it say that? It doesn't say that anywhere, right? How can you be a good Sikh without Guru Sahib? Not a good Sikh. How can it be we're Sikhs, right? So we're learning from Guru Granth Sahib Ji, right? Where does it say that in Guru Granth Sahib Ji? Guru Granth Sahib Ji tells us that we as Guru Sikhs Guru Granth Sahib Ji, we read, Hum avaguna pare ek gun nahi. That I'm full of demerits. I'm full of bad qualities. I haven't got a single good quality in me. So how can I become a good Gursikh or good person? How can I become a good human being if I'm Afghan pare, if I'm full of Afghan, if I'm full of bad deeds it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
The only way to do that is Guru Ram Das Rakho Sarnai. At the end of that Shabad, when we fall at the feet of Guru Ram Das Ji, when we fall at the feet of Guru Sahib Ji, they make us into the good people, right? There's a pangti. It says, Vadi Vadi Ai Gur Seva Te Pae. Right? We become worthy of Vadi, we become worthy of praise. Not that we're looking for praise, but we become worthy of praise and we become amazing people Gur Seva Te Pae. Through the Guru Seva. By doing Seva of Guru Sahib. That's what makes us amazing people. How are we supposed to become good people without Guru Sahib Ji? Right? Guru Sahib Ji is the one that's going to make us into good people. We're full of these bad deeds. So in that sense, we need to make sure, where are you getting your Sikhi from? Are you getting it from Gurbani? You're getting it from some random banda that's putting quotes online, right? And another thing in terms of this is that in terms of reprogramming the Sikh mindset, right?
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we understand what Sikhi is at its core, and how to live Sikhi, right? Sikhi is not a stagnant religion. It's not a stagnant path. It's chalda, right? Chalda vahir, right? It's constantly flowing. Sikhi is ongoing and it's alive, right? So we need to live Sikhi. Sikhi is not just about waking up in the morning, doing your part, going to work, doing a 9 to 5, coming back home, dera sahab parke, dinner karke, family nal bejo thode chilli, TV dekh lo, drama dekh lo, Star Plus te. Yeah. Sikhi is not about doing a 9 to 5, coming home, watching, having dinner, sitting with your family, watching dramas and watching television shows, going to sleep. Yeah, good. Oh, I'm a good Gursikh. I do my bhakti, I do my work, yeah, and I go sleep. Everyone that takes Amrit becomes a part of the Khalsa. And we now have a duty to the Guru Khalsa Panth, right? To work for the Panth. When we take Amrit, we make a statement. We make a declaration of war, right? That declaration of war, what is it? Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We're making a declaration that we are here to work for the victory of the Khalsa, and we're here to work for the victory of Vaheguru. The Khalsa is here to work for the victory of Vaheguru. And what is our goal? Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Yeah? So that is our mission in this life. And how do we do that? Deg, fateh, right? Through the cauldron, deg, right? Food and deg, the sword. Freedom. The sword, the deg represents freedom. Food and freedom for all, right? How do we do that? Every single Gursikh in their own lives, through their own jobs, through their own occupations, their professions, every one of us should use our professions for the benefit of the Panth. We should use it for a collective goal.
We've spoken about this before personally as well, of how you mentioned, like, no matter what industry and no matter what your profession is, like you're studying law, for example, you'd go on to be a lawyer, barrister, whatever your goals are.
Yeah.
I'm studying media, I'm going through the media industry, I'll become something there. They have other Gursikhs who are in medical, scientists, engineers, whatever. And just going through all these industries, like we have so many things in so many areas, so many specialties. If we all come together, we bring in our ideas together, that's how you collectively reprogram the Panth and bring it to newer heights.
Yeah. 100%. We need to remember, Sikhi is not just like some, it's not just some, like, we're not religious bande in that sense. You know what religious people do? Balraj Singh ji said this again, I keep on going back to myself. Religious Monday, they go to the church on the weekend, they do a bit of prayers at home, they go to work, they're good people and they go sleep and that's it, right? Sikhi is a way of life. It's 100%. A marg, right? Mara says, right? This marg is a path. What is a panth? Panth means a path. It's an ongoing path. And how do we carry on going through that path? And how do we bring more people on this path? We need to, every single one of us needs to use our skills and our skill sets, our professions, and use it for the benefit of the Panth, right? As you were saying, we all need to, we all need to make an active effort, right? We all need to put in effort. Mara says in Gurbani in Anand Sahib again, right? Tan mana tan sab som gurko hukam maniye paiye, right? Tan mana tan, your mind, your body, your wealth. Sab som gurko, give it all to the Guru, right? So that is every single aspect of our life. Every Gursikh that gives their head to Guru Sahib Ji, right?
They put the panth first.
Yeah, you now have
themselves.
a duty to the panth, right? You have that responsibility to make sure that you're doing something with the panth. You're having an impact on those around you.
And actually implement that practically as well. Like, for example, like you're going into the field of law.
Right. Yeah.
As you're going into that, your mentality, your thinking is, yeah, I'm doing this. Now, how do I do that?
How do we help the panth with this?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You're going into media, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to be a direct representative for Gursikhs in the media, showing that we can get into these roles, right? And we need to try our best to get the highest of the highest roles. Mahapurush always tell us this. I personally messed up with my A-levels a little bit, but I've realized now I need to work hard, right? The way that we're gonna help the panth, if we look into Ittihas again, right? In Ittihas, we've got two famous Gursikhs, right? We're Chadkhriyan te Chade.
Yeah.
Paisa Beg Singh Ji, Paisa Balraj Singh Ji. We look into the history of Paisa Beg Singh Ji. Paisa Beg Singh Ji worked in the Mughal Sarkar. They are the ones who brought the Nawabbi to the Guru Khalsa Panth. When Nawab Kapoor Singh was given the Nawabbi, right?
Yeah.
Paisa Beg Singh Ji was in that position for the Khalsa to be able to do that. That's when we got all that Jagir, all that land and stuff, right? So we have to have, not saying that, oh yeah, people might say that we don't need to infiltrate and stuff, right? Maybe not about infiltration. We don't want to say at other people's table. We need to build our own tables, right? And the only way we can do that is to get on the big oddi. Yeah, get on these big stands. Not that we're worried about money. Fine, Khalsa ko maya hona chahiye. We should have money, right? But it's about professionalism. It's about being well learned, yeah, right? Academic, being a well-versed academic. Studying Gursikhi, getting into these professions, these high professions, whilst keeping our Sikhi alive. Keeping our Ret, keeping our Maryada, staying dread on our Nitnem, right?
100%.
That is the most important thing. And doing these things whilst becoming the best professional you can. So, learning Shastra Vidya, learning Gurbani, right? Learning how to speak Punjabi. Punjabi is very, very important. For our generation especially, we cannot lose Punjabi. If we lose Punjabi, right, that is Sikhi in essence diminishing.
Yeah.
Because Punjabi is written in the Gurmukhi script. Gurmukhi and Gurbani are completely intertwined, right? Without Gurmukhi, we can't read Gurbani. And without Punjabi, we can't understand Gurbani. So we need to make sure we're staying drid in Punjabi, learning how to read Gurmukhi, doing Santya, doing our Nitnem, taking Amrit, becoming part of the Khalsa, whilst becoming the best professionals we possibly can. In every field, right? Not just, let's say, politics, right? Having Gursikhs who are into politics. People might say they become corrupt, right? Let's carry on trying. We don't need to give up. We need to have Gursikhs in politics, have Gursikhs in law, have Gursikhs in media, have Gursikhs in finance. All of these sectors, then we can come together and build our own table, right? We can bring the panth up, in essence, and then when someone attacks us, we've got our own stand. We've got our own people that we can stand on. This is how we do things, right? If someone's got one skill set, you're into media. If one Gursikh's got a skill set and they see another Singh that's trying to get into this, help them out. Give them a helping hand. Bring them in. And if someone's trying to do something, let's say someone's got an upralla for the panth. They've got an idea. I think this would do good in the panth. Going back to Pai Sabji again, they said, let's say if you can't do this, come, let's do it together. If you can't do it, I'll do it. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Right? That is how we should be with the panth. We shouldn't be lazy. Maharaj in 52 hukums of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, they say Gursikh is never alsi, right? I'm alsi, right? I'm very lazy. But Maharaj's hukum is to constantly put the panth first and give all of your effort to the panth, right? And all of us have that responsibility. That is how we reprogram ourselves. We realize that we're not just on this stagnant path.
Yeah.
We're not just on this, oh yeah, go to Gurdwara, come home, have langar, that's it. No.
In like
We got a
Western
duty.
terms, or nowadays terms, you would say that's the Matrix.
Yeah.
For example,
Kaljug is the matrix, right?
Kaljug is the Matrix.
Yeah.
And the way that we escape from that is if we program ourselves in the way where we put the punt forward. Like we have this table right here.
Yeah.
Each what do you call it, leg of the table is like each person in Sikhi. So you have each profession. You got law here, you got finance there, you got media here, you got engineering here. When all of them come together, you got a table.
Yeah.
With that table, what do you have? You got your own platform.
Yeah. We need to build our own. We need to build our own power, right? Khalsa's job is never to mang. We don't ask anyone for anything. We don't
And we
sit
never
there.
have.
We don't sit. We've never asked anyone. We never have. We don't sit there asking for our rights, right? We go and take them. We go and build them. Ko kisi ko raaj na de hai jo ne nij bal se le hai, right? But wo bal kitthon aana? We spoke about tiyar pratyar. Tiyar pratyar has many meanings, right? And it has many facets. One is the shastra tari tiyar pratyar. But tiyar pratyar, for those that don't understand, is ready upon ready. And shastra tari means to be armed, right? Tiyar pratyar, being ready upon ready, does not just mean being armed and being a soldier. It also means being an academic, right?
Yeah.
Being learned, right? It also means being a good professional. The main thing is having a bani kant, yeah, knowing Gurbani, reading Gurbani, knowing Punjabi, knowing Gurmukhi. That is what it means to be tiyar pratyar. Our older generations may not have been able to kept this, but they've now given us the chance to do it, and we need to take that. We need to take that step. We really need to take that step forward, and I see like a lot of things where they think like, oh yeah, we can just be ragu and this, right? And I get it, right? Things are all like just jungy and they're just on it, right? But we need to remember that we are representatives of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. They're Khoda Khuda, right? The king of all kings. The king of all kings, his sons will be absolute professionals. If you look at the way the royal family conducts themselves in the UK, they are absolutely professional. The way that they dress, the way that they act, the way that they speak. We should follow our buttons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji.
100%.
In Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj said, "Mit Balraj Ji har Sajjan Swami Mura," right? We need to all follow these buttons, including myself 100%, right? Start speaking sweetly, speaking professionally, right? Speaking properly, learning. It's just the whole facet of things, right?
Yeah.
We need to make sure that we're tiyar pratyar in all senses, and we're bringing it all together, and we keep the mud at the front of Panth ki jeet, right? Not meri jeet, not my vadiyai, Panth ki jeet, right?
Panth first.
Yeah, deg fateh, birth ki paj, Panth ki jeet.
Panth ki jeet.
It stays at the front all the time. The Guru Khalsa Panth stays at the front all the time. That should be our goal, and that is how. So by going back to the question, to reprogram ourselves, we need to remember that our Sikhi is based on Gurbani, it's based on Guru Tehas, and we need to remember Sikhi is not stagnant. Yeah, it's not just something that we do on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It is day in, day out.
It's a lifestyle, like we said before.
Yeah, it's you're living it. You're living and breathing, right? Bharat and Gursikhs, they wouldn't have just they couldn't go sleep one day and pick up their shastra another day. Yeah, bana la ke kamar ka sala ke yeah kisi hor din tor jana. No, every single day they were on it, right? Nit Guru di darshan kare, nit bani japna, nit name. What does nit name mean, right? Your naam daily, nit naam, right? Nit name, jumping naam daily.
That's how we got our Raj from Delhi all the way to Afghanistan.
Yeah, and that every single day, that grind, that working hard, right? But it's all of us that need to come together, bring all of our skill sets and facets, what we have, what we offer, bring it together and use it for the Panth. Keep the Panth ahead. Our organizations are all brilliant, right? We've got Basis of Sikhi, we've got Seek to Inspire, we've got Khalsa Panth UK, Buddha Dal UK, right? Damdami Taksal, all these Samparda, Akhand Kirtani Jatha, Nanak Sir. We all have our own skill sets and we're all amazing at our own things. Nihang Singhs are amazing at Shastra Vidya and Parat and Itihas, right? That is the things that I think I see Nihang Singh specializing in most. Taksali Singhs, they are experts in Gurbani, they are experts in Santya, they are experts in the Maryada behind Guru Sahib Ji Seva.
Yeah.
Yeah. Akhand Kirtanis, they are amazing Kirtanis. They spend the entire night, fine, a lot of people might not agree with the way that they do stuff, but they spend the entire night singing Kirtan, right? Kirtan hoa Ran Sabai, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, right? How many people do you know who spend the entire night singing to Guru Sahib Ji and that much pyar, right? Ek chaunkada ji baith ke sari raat, right? Singing there to Guru Sahib Ji, right?
Yeah.
The Nanak Sir sings, we often know Nanak Sir Bhagati da kar, right? This is the home of Bhagati. This is where the most Bhagati happens, right? All of these people have their own skill sets. These are the main sampradaya that we have in the Panth at this moment, right? You got the Nirmali and the Dasis as well, right? The original sampradayas. And then you have all these organizations in between that focus on different things, right? Base of Sikhi do brilliant prachar. Seek to inspire, go a bit more into depth, right? Khalsa Panth UK, Buddha UK, bringing the original values of
authenticity.
Sikhi. The authenticity of Sikhi, right? Then you got loads of different groups, right? With us at Clifton Road, we don't see ourselves as a sampradaya. We don't see ourselves as Jathebandi. We just see ourselves as the Sangat of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. And we're here at the service of the Guru Khalsa Panth, right?
And that's another thing that I'd like to say, like, even with just meeting, when I was asking him, like, the goals with Khalsa in the UK as well, what Baba Joginder Singh Ji used to say as well was,
Khalsa Panth de na de
Khalsa Panth na de prachar karna.
Yeah.
So I think, that's very important.
We need to keep that at the head. Where the Guru Khalsa Panth is at the top. All of us are below. And all of our goals and collectives, I personally, I feel bad sometimes as well. I personally really want to travel a lot, right? I want to go on holiday, but then at the same time I think, right, I need to do something for the Panth, right? And sometimes we need to make sure that, look, you still got your time. You still got your time to do what you need to do. You can have fun, right? Sikhi is not saying, drop everything else and just become... No, you can still, as youngsters, like we can still have our fun inside Maryada, right? We can still do what we want to do. We can have our hobbies and so on.
It's about channeling them both at the same time.
Channeling them for the Panth, right? Channeling our direction always towards the Guru Khalsa Panth.
Exactly that. The way that I've seen it, like I've mentioned this in the episodes before. The reason why I say this is that I've said that I've got this podcast. This is my school project. I'm getting graded on this.
Yeah.
And that's me. Like, I could have done it on something else.
I could be running a grade right now.
You could be. The reason why I've done it on the Bhujangi podcast, the reason why I named it that is, I was like, I've got a project that I need to do.
Yeah.
It's media based. I've got this Sikhi Jeevan that I'm following. How can I channel them both together? How do I do that? Relating my work with Sikhi.
Definitely.
And I've done that.
Yeah.
And I think that's how, like, we should all do, like, all right, yeah, I'm in media. Okay, it was very easy for me to just, wholly direct a whole podcast on Sikhi. But there's other ways that you can do that as well. Like in law, you can, research
for
into
example,
law as well.
We've got Sikhs in law right now.
Yeah, exactly. The recent events that we
amazing
had.
platform started by Balraj Singh. He's a barrister.
Yeah.
Born and barrister. I'm trying my best to start getting involved in that and stuff. I've been to quite a few of the events. And then you've got, they've started the Sikh court recently, right?
Yeah.
And that is an alternative dispute platform forum to try and solve Panthic issues, right? This is the way that we need to come together. And what was amazing about that Sikh court, right? Every single sampradaya was there. They had Panch Pyare that led the procession.
Nishan Nagar, everything.
Yeah, Nishans and the Panch Pyare. They had a sing from Tarnadal, they had a sing from Tuksal, a sing from AKJ, a sing from Nanak Sir. They were all brought together, and they were all, and at the Sikh court, everyone who became a magistrate, right, or a judge in that court, they had to give their allegiance to two, the Guru Granth Sahib and the Guru Panth, right, the Guru Khalsa Panth. And I think that was amazing, where they're using their skill set and they're now putting it towards the Panth and helping the Panth.
Exactly how we've covered before. Like,
yeah,
we have these platforms, and now we have the responsibility of actually using those platforms and helping out the Panth, like, where we have our own Panthic disputes. That's how they'll be solved there in the UK with that. Yeah. And now if we can start other things up like that as well.
What we need to remember though is not to be judgmental.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would want to start their own things. They'd want to start seva and so on. But people be judgmental. They put them down and they say, "Oh, tu nahi kar sakta, tu mona hai, tu eh hai, right? You're mona. You don't have long hair. You got cut hair. You can't do this. You can't do seva. You can't take part of this. You're not Nehang Singh. You're not Daksali, right?" We need to make sure we're not gutted. We're not
shunning people out.
Yeah, we're not shunning people out just because they're slightly different or just because they aren't fully there yet, right? If someone's trying, help them, right? Tell them how to do things. Help them say this, right? Like we said before.
Yeah.
If you can't do it, let's do it together. Let me help you do it. Let's do it. Let's get it done, right? And if someone's making a mistake, pyar naal samjhao, right? We need to make sure that we're not putting people down constantly.
100%.
That's what we do all the time. We're always putting people that someone has an idea. Yeah, rehne de brava koi na. Yeah,
why are you gonna do
aage
that?
karna, right?
Yeah.
What's the need for it, right? We need to remember as Sikhs, we're not going to go to Dharamraj when we die. We go to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. The Shaheed Singhs come to get us. When we die, they're going to ask us, Tu panth li ki kita? These things that gave their head for the panth, these Shaheed Singhs, they're going to come to collect us when we die. They're going to ask us, panth li ki kita? Tu ki kita? What contribution have you had? Yeah? Your man bach karam. They're going to ask us,
Yeah.
what did you do? What did you say? What did you think? Right?
And if you don't do these things, what would you tell them?
Yeah, if we haven't done anything for the panth, we haven't had any dain for the panth, we haven't tried, yeah, doesn't mean you should start some big upralla and start like creating massive projects and stuff. No, but have some sort of impact, right? Go to the Gurukar, do seva, get involved in projects, right? If you got some skill set, use it for the panth, right? We need to remember, this is the future for the world. This is how we help the world, right? Sarabata Pala comes from the Guru Khalsa Panth. Right?
100%.
Nanak naam chaddi kala, tere paane sarbata pala.
Pala.
Yeah? Nanak naam chaddi kala. Right? Through Guru Nanak Dev Ji, through the name of Guru Nanak. Who's going to spread that name of Guru Nanak? Khalsa. The Panth. Right? So we need to make sure to get sarbata pala, we need to make sure that we're working for the Panth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we covered a lot of topics. I think
we went-
this might have overrun with the time that we have. I might split into 2 parts. So yeah, you'll see some cuts. So yeah, just with that, I'd like to thank Divjot Singh so much for
Thank you,
coming
man.
on.
Thank you for giving me the
You
opportunity.
know, we've had this opportunity to do these vichars, especially with us as Bhujangis.
Yeah.
I think we've given this like a unique, how to say, a perspective on the Panth and how we can change things, because we're both quite young. You know, I'm 17, you're 19.
Yeah.
Compared to other things, like we've seen these things from their perspective, how they've
Yeah.
told us, and how we see it in 2024, and how we in future ourselves
Yeah.
as well.
And I'd like to take the chance to apologize as well for any mistakes I've made. I'm not a vidwan. I'm not like a scholar or anything. I'm just giving my perspective from what I've seen working within the Panth, doing seva within the Panth, and from what I've learned, what Guru Sahib Ji, whatever knowledge Guru Sahib Ji's blessed me with. So thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to come here today.
It's a pleasure. It's all Marj's kirpa that I've done this umbrella as well, like I mentioned. It's all Marj's hukum that I've done it, and you know, like we said, Panth first, and that's what we're doing here right now.
Always.
So just with that, I'd like to just say, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.